Welcome to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. Doing a live episode real quick to talk about the NBA trade deadline. We are 22 hours away from the NBA trade deadline tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern. Jimmy Butler is still on the Miami Heat. I was just playing basketball and I got back 30 minutes ago and cut a quick video, and I've been seeing all the reports on Twitter from Barry Jackson, Shams, Windhorst, Chris Haynes, and there's been a lot of noise, obviously, around Kevin Durant possibly ending up with the Miami Heat, which could be a huge win for this Miami Heat franchise. I personally don't think it's going to happen. Is it possible? Of course, anything is possible. We can obviously acquire Kevin Durant for a Jimmy Butler trade. The likelihood of that, it seems slim, in my opinion. So we'll talk about that as well and go over some of the latest reports. But I'm happy the trade did not happen while I was playing basketball today, because when Damian Lillard was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, I was playing basketball and I was shocked to see that news when I went to my bag to get some water and saw that I missed out on being able to report that live. But yeah, so an hour ago or so, Shams was on ESPN, said that the Golden State Warriors obviously were interested in pursuing Kevin Durant, and that the two-time Golden State Warriors MVP, Finals MVP, has said he has no desire in reunion with the Golden State Warriors. And there could be multiple reasons why he said that. I think one, obviously, his beef with Draymond Green. Two, he's already won a championship. He's already been there. He's already done that. Three, I don't know if Kevin Durant even wants to leave the Suns and be labeled as that guy who keeps requesting trades, keeps getting traded during the middle of the season, someone who is just hopping and looking for new opportunities. So, which it doesn't matter at this point, because Kevin Durant literally left the Thunder after they were up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals against a team that was 72-8, whatever the best record, regular season record in the NBA, and left to go team up with the team that beat him, obviously, and won 2 championships with the Golden State Warriors. So people have trashed on KD for that already back in 2017 when that happened. And then, of course, he tries to team up with his friends, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, in Brooklyn. And yes, they could have had a shot to win, but we all know what happened. James Harden was hurt. Kyrie was hurt. Kevin Durant stepped on that line when he shot that 3-point shot, which could have helped advance the Nets to the next round. So whatever. But then he's hopped from that team now to the Phoenix Suns, where he teamed up with Devin Booker, and then ultimately they were able to get Bradley Beal, which was one of the worst deals, I think, in NBA history. Thank God the Miami Heat dodged that bullet. Real quick, going to put up some comments. I got my boy Van Lee in the house. What's up, Van? I did go hoop, and luckily I did not miss out on any big trades. We got Mr. Pops. What's up, man? Thank you so much for always commenting and supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. When are we doing another show? Martel and I are going to be doing another one 3:30. Well, I'm on the West Coast, so I live in San Francisco, as some of you guys know. Martel lives in Florida, in South Florida, so this will be 3:30 my time, 6:30 Eastern. So in an hour and a half, Martel and I are going to hop on a show. I think Trent is going to be coaching. We got Primetime KG. I'll be refreshing every minute of every hour the next 24 hours. Hey, I will be doing the exact same thing. I am at the edge of my seat right now, just wondering where Jimmy Butler will end up, which we'll talk about, obviously. No Trent. Trent is going to be coaching. I think he coaches like a 7th grade team. Primetime KG says, I really hope this KD stuff comes to fruition. I really hope it does too, because this was unexpected, right? KD, in theory, has not requested or demanded a trade. The Phoenix Suns have wanted Jimmy Butler to be paired with Devin Booker and with Kevin Durant. So the fact that Bradley Beal has held the cards to this trade this whole time and has not wanted to drop his no trade clause, and basically said, And his agent has said, we have not had conversations. Like, we don't want to leave the Suns. Like, even though he was benched, this team is a 500 team at best in the West, which has become even more competitive with the De'Aaron Fox move. I think the Dallas Mavericks have become even more competitive for now, trading for Anthony Davis. They're not done yet. There's reports that the Mavericks are interested in possibly acquiring Jimmy Butler if they can. There was some murmurs that the Houston Rockets and the Dallas Mavericks wanted Kevin Durant, but I don't think that's going to come to fruition. But it was known, obviously, that Kevin Durant and the Suns wanted Jimmy Butler to play in replacement of Beal. His contract is untradeable. Brian Windhorst reported that they've looked at every nook and cranny. They've talked to all 28 other teams, and no one is willing to move on from or take on Bradley Beal's contract. He has the fifth highest paid contract this season, making whatever it is, 52 million. He's due 110 million over the next 2 seasons, and no one wants him. So the fact that this has now pivoted to Kevin Durant possibly going to the Warriors yesterday, and the Miami Heat possibly trading Jimmy Butler to the Suns, and the Miami Heat getting whatever the Warriors are willing to trade, which most likely would have been centered around Wiggins, some expiring contracts. I don't know if they would have gotten a pick. Two, Kevin Durant doesn't want to go to the Warriors, and now there could be a swap for Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler, I think is absolutely insane. This would be a huge victory for the Miami Heat. So Windhorst also reported basically after Mark J. Spears, Chris Haynes, Shams have shut down the fact that Kevin Durant does not want to be reunited with the Warriors, that now he believes he either stays with the Suns or by tomorrow afternoon, he gets traded to the Miami Heat. So now the Miami Heat community, Heat Nation, is in a frenzy, but a lot of us are not going to expect or get our hopes up and actually think this is going to happen. So can it happen? Yes. Is it likely? I don't think so. What do you guys think? So you guys are in the comments right now. Do you guys think the Miami Heat realistically have a chance? Or do you think Pat Riley is sleeping? You think he's sleeping right now? It's 5:00 Eastern. Do you think Pat is taking a nap, missing out on all these calls? Like, what are your actual thoughts? Because I don't think it's going to happen. But Barry Jackson reported that a possibility of swapping Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler is possible. That if we do this, hypothetically, the Miami Heat can offer Jimmy Butler, who's making $3 million or so less. If we want to match the salaries, then we can throw in Nikola Jovic, which some Heat fans are going to bitch and complain about. But Nico is a freaking role player. Yes, he's 21 years old. He has potential. He's a role player. He's inconsistent. He's 21 years old. He's still not ready. Like, Kevin Durant is a proven champion who's averaging 27 points per game on 40% shooting from three, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.2 blocks, almost a steal per game. Like, sorry, you have to include him in that package, and you can't trade Hawkes, who's playing worse. And I think Nico has a higher ceiling than Jaime Hawkes, especially this season right now, as Jaime is facing that slump, that sophomore slump, if you will. But because Jaime was drafted 18th, because Kalel was drafted 15th, and Kalel, I'm not trading Kalel well, where for this deal, hell no. But still, even if you wanted to trade Kalel, where him and Jaime are making like $5-6 million or whatever it is per year, the Suns can't take on more contract or more value or whatever for what they're pushing out because they're a second number team. We all know they can't aggregate players. That's why Bradley Beal is still going to be on the Suns, and that's why Jimmy Butler is still on the Miami Heat. If the Suns weren't a second neighboring team, then the Suns would have traded the Miami Heat 3 first-round picks, Grayson Allen, Tyus Jones, Josh Okogie, Nurkic, whatever, and the deal would have been done. So the Miami Heat, according to Barry Jackson, can trade first-round pick. They have 1 tradable first-round pick. Nico, Jimmy, and if they want to sweeten it, they have 2 tradable second-round picks. 1 pick that we got, I believe, for Thomas Bryant. We can make a deal done, and we get Kevin Durant, which would be huge for this Miami Heat, especially when we have all expected to lose Jimmy basically for pennies on the dollar. So Juan Blandino, what's up, Juan? Hope you're doing well, says, now is the time to get that whale, please. We need Kevin Durant. Yes, we do. Gio says 22 hours until trade deadline. Let's go. Prime time KG. Beal is a Heat legend without ever wearing a jersey at this point. He is a if Bradley Beal is getting us Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler, then he is obviously going to have his jersey in the rafters. I don't even care if Kevin Durant doesn't deliver a championship for this Miami Heat team, but it would be a great fit putting Kevin Durant next to Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware, Tyler Hero, keeping Duncan, hopefully, which I'll get into that in a second. Having all that spacing, all that gravity from Kevin Durant with the ball in his hands, obviously playing in isolation. So Tyler Hero would be free, obviously. Like, look what Tyler Hero's averaging and doing. Yes, he's had a couple bad games since he's been announced an all-star, but look at that pressure, that ball pressure. They're blitzing him because there's no other point guard or ball handler on this team, and they're okay with Tyler or Terry Rozier chucking up bullshit shots. So look how good Tyler's still playing and helping this Miami Heat team stay afloat during this Jimmy Butler bullshit and drama. And Jimmy Butler's missed half the season by injury and obviously through suspension. So imagine a world where Kevin Durant is on that floor with Bam, with Khalil, with Tyler. Like, that size would be insane. Tyler's 6'5". Kevin Durant is 6'11". You have 7 foot Khalil Ware. You have 6'9" Bam Adebayo. You put in Duncan Robinson, who's also 6'7", in that mix. Like, look at that 3-point shooting you suddenly have. Bam has been hitting those threes a little bit more. He's been more confident lately. You have Bam Adebayo could technically kind of hit the three. Obviously, he wouldn't really be shooting threes, but still, Khalil can hit threes. You have Bam, you have Tyler, you have Duncan, you have freaking Kevin Durant as a sniper out there. Then off the bench, you still maybe have Jaime. Then you have Alec Burks. You have other pieces that you can leverage. Pelle Larson. That would be so freaking huge. So primetime KG says at this point it's a bidding war between the Suns and Warriors. Oh, yes, exactly. So Mark Stein came out. Thank you. Mark Stein came out and said that the Golden State Warriors are now going to be focusing on Jimmy Butler because now they know they're not going to be getting Kevin Durant. They might be focusing on other trades. I've heard speculation of 4-team trades, 4-team deals where Paul George would go to the Warriors, which I think would be the freaking dumbest move for the Warriors. Could he fit there? Yes, but he's having one of his worst seasons. He's looking cooked. He's injury prone. He's already missed 17 games this season. He has one of the worst contracts out there, 4 years, $200 million. That's like, that doesn't make sense, in my opinion. So, my boy Van Lee says Valanciunas has gone to Kings, your secret team, Amir. He did. Valanciunas just got traded to the Kings. I did not know that. Let me look up real quick on Twitter to see Valanciunas. Who did you get traded for? Let me know in the chat. I don't see it right now. Let me go to Shams, see if he's reported it, which I'm sure he has, if you've said that. Washington Wizards are trading Jonas Valanciunas to Sacramento Kings for City Sissoko and 2 second-round picks. That's a good pick. That's solid for the Kings. I mean, I don't know what they're trying to do. I guess they're not trying to tank at this point. So they're adding Valanciunas with Sabonis. You still have Malik Monk. You have Zach LaVine. You have DeMar DeRozan. You still have Keegan Murray. That's like a pretty solid team, but it's in the West. Like, what the hell are they going to do in the West? They're not going to do anything, obviously, with that lineup. Let's see. Mifu, not likely unless KD wants to come here. I understand and I agree, but again, like I mentioned earlier, maybe KD doesn't want to continue with that perception of him bailing and leaving teams prematurely. So maybe he wouldn't want to leave. But we all know who were his top 2 teams when he went to the Suns, when the Miami Heat didn't have the assets, when we had no draft capital, no young players, no one else that we could really trade for to get Kevin Durant. It was the Miami Heat and the Phoenix Suns. He ended up with the Suns. He has interest in the Miami Heat. He's always wanted to come to the Miami Heat. We just never had the right opportunity or the right deal. There's been reports Spo wowed him in 2016 or whatever it was before he ultimately went to the Warriors. He obviously respects Pat Riley and this Miami Heat team. He obviously respects Spo. He has worked with Spo on Team USA, obviously, in the Olympics, and he's been playing with Bam Adebayo twice in the Olympics. So Bam is friends with him for whatever the F that's worth. Bam is friends with Fox. Did Fox come to the Heat? No, he went to the Spurs, to a team that is up and coming, obviously, that's going to probably take a couple years, a couple more pieces before they're actual contenders. But he's young enough. He'll sign an extension with the Spurs. and play with Wemby, who's obviously way better than Bam, who's the future of the NBA. But anyway, Bam couldn't get his like college roommate, very good friend. He was a groomsman in his Fox's wedding. So who gives a shit if KD played with Bam and they were friends? But anyway, Primetime KMG says Chad Johnson tweeted 3 days ago or so KD on the Heat, but obviously not a valid source. Yes, definitely not. But also, Eddie Gonzalez, who's friends with KD, posted a picture of KD in a Heat uniform. Not sure if he was clowning, trolling, playing with our emotions. We're emotional Heat fans, obviously, here. And that was something that I thought was interesting as well. So, Gambit Official Heat Lifer, what's up, man? Always representing, supporting on Twitter. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for hopping in. I would not trade Wearman. I 100% agree. Definitely not for Kevin Durant. He's old as shit, but still, he's elite as shit. He is one of the best offensive players ever in basketball. He is still producing amazing numbers. I still think he's the top 10 player. He's still a pretty damn good defender, even at this age, which is shocking. I think Kevin Durant is a anomaly. He missed, what was it, 4 seasons ago with that Achilles injury. I thought his career would be over, kind of like how Kobe Bryant's was when he tore that Achilles, and he was never really the same afterwards. Kevin Durant has been balling. And yes, he's been kind of a little more injury prone due to that, but he has been spectacular for someone at his age to be able to come back. And it's also because he's a freaking twig, even though he's basically 7 foot. He weighs 240 pounds. He's not like a real 6'11" guy who probably would normally weigh 260, 270. He doesn't have as much weight on there. So 2019, when he was 31, tore that Achilles, came back the next year, then got traded to Brooklyn, averaged 27 points per game. Then he was with Brooklyn again, 30 points per game, 29, 30, 26, 27, 27, career average 27.2 points per game. Kevin Durant did only play 8 games. Or actually, no, he only played 40 something games a few seasons ago, 47, 3 years ago. But last season with the Phoenix Suns, he played 75 games at age 35 with his injury history. That is freaking huge, in my opinion. So that is amazing. But again, I wouldn't trade Khalil Ware. Gambit said, I'll buy Beal's jersey. I'm assuming he's not Beaks. Yep, Beal, I got that. I would 100% do that too. Van Lee, my boy, says we need a point of attack defender now. Amir Bruce Brown played with Durant in Brooklyn. Nice expiring contract. That is a championship piece. He is a championship piece. Obviously, he played amazing. Obviously, with the Denver Nuggets, him and KCP. We saw how shitty our point of attack defense was last night against the Chicago Bulls, which was an embarrassing loss. I can't believe the Miami Heat blew that game against the Chicago Bulls. Spo, I'm not a trade Spo. Spo sucks. Get him off my team type guy because I think that's stupid. He's still one of the best coaches based on the consensus by NBA players and NBA coaches and NBA GMs and execs. So who are we going to trade Spo for? Who do you want? Doc Rivers? Who do you like? Who do you want? Obviously, he's on the Bucks, but you know what I mean. Like, there's no one available. There's no prospect out there that can replace Spo. But has Spo been playing or been coaching shitty at times this season and having poor rotations and making poor decisions? Yes, he has. But he's human. But still, these collapses in the fourth quarter, especially to shitty teams, are horrible. So the Heat lost last night. Pivoting just real quick to the current state of the team. So they collapsed in the fourth quarter to lose to the shitty Chicago Bulls 133-124, and they fell back to 500. Anytime this team goes above 500 1 or 2 games, they always fall back and get back to 500 because they're mediocre. They're mid, but yes, we expect this. They are a young team now that Jimmy Butler has been out of the lineup and has missed half the season. So we know we're going in a different direction, but still, we have Tyler Hero, who's an all-star. We have Bam Adebayo, who's a former all-star. We have Khalil Ware, who is a diamond in the rough. And we still have other pieces that can contribute in a East that is not as strong as the West. So the Bulls just freaking traded their best player, who is playing like an all-star, who literally is playing like an all-star. Zach LaVine was averaging 24 points per game and shooting 44% from three, 49% from the field as a guard. He's having a bounce back year. They traded him and they were still able to kill us. Their rookie Matas, whatever the hell his last name, went 10 for 10 from the field, which is literally unacceptable in my opinion. But anyway, Eric Spoelstra played Terry Rozier for some reason in that fourth quarter for most of that fourth quarter, and he finished the game 2 for 12 and is just like such a negative on defense. He gets hunted and attacked, but also he is just so inconsistent. Yes, he had a good week last week or whatever it was, or 3 games where he played really well off the bench and was efficient, but he's been so inefficient, inaccurate, has not been able to shoot, takes the hardest shots, literally step back, sidestep shots, and is just crushing this team. And I don't know why Spo did not play Jaime Hayes Highwood, Hayes. I can't even say his name. Haywood Highsmith. Like, I don't understand what took him so long. Like, why did he not play Duncan Robinson? That was also perplexing as well. Duncan was hot in that first quarter. He had 2 early fouls, but I don't know. Maybe he re-aggravated an injury. I know he had some sort of hip issue. It hasn't kept him out of games, but he either is getting traded, perhaps, and we are sitting him out, or that he was hurt. There's only 2 other reasons, but Spo needs to step the fuck up. Here we go. So we have love and light and meditation. I hope you're doing well. Don't trade Jovic. I get it, but for Kevin Durant, I'm all in. Julio Gonzalez, what's up, man? Always see you in the comments. Thank you for supporting the channel. If the Suns need a sweetener, said Duncan for Nurkic. The Suns have been trying to move him and have not been able to. That's true. I mean, we do need some size. I mean, the Miami Heat are still terrible at rebounding, even though we've inserted a 7-footer into our starting lineup. Yes, we have Khalil Ware in our lineup. We have Bam, but we have not played the 3-man rotation of Nico, Khalil, and Bam since we first tried that a week ago, which was really well. But right now, the Heat are 20th in rebounding, which is not great. So Nurkic is a good rebounder. Nurkic also, if you remember that game where the Heat were up by 15 and blew that 15-point lead, I think it was in the third quarter. Nurkic was cooking Bam. He hit like 3 threes. He hit one from like half court at the end of the buzzer. Not at the end of the quarter, but like at the end of the shot clock. And so maybe, I mean, that could be something you think of, or you hold on to Duncan next year when he becomes an expiring contract, in my opinion. We got Mark Wayne, 100. KD and Lonzo would be nice on the Heat. That's the thing. So if we do trade for KD, it would be great to basically get a third or fourth team involved. Because right now, if Lonzo Ball doesn't get traded, which they're saying the Bulls are looking for second round capital for him, or even for Vucevic, who's also having a really good year. He's averaging 20 and 10. He's 34. He has 2 years left on his contract for only 20 million. I think Lonzo's making 20 million. He's on an expiring this season. I like him. He's always hurt though, man. That guy literally has played like 40 games in the last 3 years. Like, but if you get him for like a Terry Rozier, if you include Terry in the package, who's making comparable money, like 22 million, then I'm for it, because then he's an expiring contract. You see if he can stay healthy, you see what you get, and then you obviously give him a small contract as a prove it kind of deal, maybe like a 1 year, like $7 million contract or whatever it may be, to see if he could stay healthy. He needs to bet on himself and prove it, because no one's going to give him a long-term contract with his injury history. But the thing is, we have to trade for him, because if he does not get traded, which it doesn't seem like a lot of teams are interested in Lonzo Ball at the moment for that second round capital, then he becomes a buyout candidate. And the Miami Heat are a first apron team. So we can't get him because he's making over whatever that threshold is. I think it's 12 million or more. If they're making 12 million or more and they're a buyout candidate, then a first apron team will not be able to sign that player to a smaller deal. So we have to get him through a trade, which I think would be amazing, to have him as our point of attack defender, and getting Terry Rozier off this team, because he's freaking horrible. My boy Van Lee says, Ernie crashing out on Twitter. He's mad we're going to get Durant. I saw that. So basically, Ernie an hour ago was saying, if you are the Suns and Miami has essentially blocked every pathway possible for you to land 22, why would you in turn repay them back by sending them 35? In my opinion, both players are going to end up staying right where they are unless something changes in the next 23 hours. I mean, I don't believe him necessarily, but he is, in Jimmy Butler's entourage. That's like, he's obviously Turtle right now. I didn't really watch that show, but if he's any character, he's obviously Turtle. And obviously he has some insider information as being part of Jimmy Butler's crew, but I don't understand that logic. I think it's all bullshit. Why would the front office block a pathway for him to go to the Suns if they could. It's called Bradley Beal and his horrible, shitty contract with 110 million left on it, plus his whatever he's making this season, 50 million, plus the no trade aspect, so that if he gets hurt next year, he can't get traded by the team, basically, whoever he goes to. So they're stuck with him for 2 seasons because he's going to opt in. Why would Bradley Beal in any world opt out of his final year, which is going to be like $56 million at age? He's 31 right now. He'll be 33 in his final year of this contract. He's going to opt in, so that team is going to know they're going to be stuck with him. So it makes no freaking sense. So I don't know what the hell Ernie is saying. I think he's just saying bullshit as usual. So we'll see. Let me get to the rest of the comments. Julio Gonzalez, a bidding war for playing Jimmy. Who would have thought? I mean, it might not be just between the Phoenix Suns and the Warriors. There could be a dark horse team that comes out of nowhere. You never know. I don't know if the Bucks will. There was reports that they could be interested. I think that package would be dog shit for the Miami Heat, in my opinion. But initially, that package was going to be Middleton, Portis, and whatever. If they were able to get off like a Connaughton to get under the second apron, so they can start aggregating trades. Obviously, we saw what happened today. Kuzma got traded for Middleton, which I think is crazy. It's like, hey, thanks for helping us win a championship, Middleton. But now we're going to send you to the 7-win Washington Wizards, one of the worst franchises in the NBA, to play with Jordan Poole in purgatory. So I think that's kind of messed up. But there's still speculation and rumors that the Bucks could be interested in him. But it's like a package centered around Brook Lopez, like 2 years ago, that would have been dope. He's like 36. Like him next to Bam would have been huge 2 years ago, but he's old. Yeah, Brook Lopez. They said Portis. They said Connaughton and Beauchamps, whatever, Marshawn Beauchamps or whoever the hell that is. I don't even know who the hell that is. But that would be a horrible package for the Miami Heat. But it could happen. But why would they want to send him to a conference rival, if you will, playoff, rival? I don't think it makes sense. But if I was Jimmy Butler, I think I would want to play for the Bucks over the Suns, because the Suns don't have a chance to win a championship right now. They're in a loaded West, which that team doesn't have depth. They don't have defense. It's going to be just Jimmy, Bradley Beal, and Booker. Like, that's not going to get you over the hump. Like, that's a downgrade. Kevin Durant is better than Jimmy Butler. So I don't understand why we would want to go there. Memphis would make probably the most sense. They're a number 2 seed and they're young and they have good pieces. And I mean, that package would be horrible too. For Miami, you would have to get Marcus Smart as the centerpiece, which I wouldn't hate, honestly. But again, like, that's horrible. Like, we're not going to get any value for Jimmy Butler. Like, if we can get Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler, that's the ultimate win. This front office is back. We're in business. But the likelihood, though, is we're not going to get Kevin Durant, and we're going to have to deal with whatever the Warriors give us, or a dark horse team like the Memphis Grizzlies, perhaps, which would be, again, centered around Marcus Smart, who I hated, obviously, and I'm sure a lot of you hated when he was on the Celtics. And he was a pest, but he fits with this Miami Heat culture as a defensive-minded type of player. Him and Tyler Hero, that's like perfect backcourt compared to him and even Duncan or Terry Rozier. Obviously, anything's better than Terry Rozier, but still, Marcus Smart got that depoy over Bam, which was horseshit, obviously, as we all know. And that would be huge, though, as a point of attack defender right now, since we don't have Drew Smith, who's been injured, with that Achilles injury. So we need help defensively. He's not a real point guard, but still, it is another playmaking type of guard that we can add. Like, I think anything's better than Terry Rozier, honestly, at this point. But who knows? Maybe the Memphis Grizzlies can center a package around him, and again, Luke Kennard and all that garbage, or it could be the Bucks, or again, it's a bidding war between the Suns and the Warriors. So prime time, KG says couple seconds, possibly. Julio Gonzalez says KD says his preferred destinations are the Suns and Heat. Okay, yeah, I mean, he said that 2 seasons ago when he went to the Phoenix Suns. The Miami Heat didn't have enough, essentially, to get it done. So, of course, he's been linked to the Miami Heat in the past and has had mutual interest. Van Lee says, I sent you the AI picture of Pat Riley and Durant on the beach. I knew all along. We got Balin Rios. As a Rockets fan, it sounds like KD Jimmy swap is going to happen. We'll see. Houston Rockets are awesome too. Don't count the Texas teams out, 100% yet. there's been speculation a couple days ago. Anything can change. The situation is obviously fluid, but there was speculation that Jimmy can go back to his home state. Obviously, going to Dallas would be ridiculous. I don't know what they would offer. PJ Washington, maybe, and a few other pieces to make the salary match. But could you imagine if he went to Dallas? Oh my God, Kyrie. Then you have Jimmy. You have AD. Probably still keep Lively. Have Gafford. Like that would be unreal. They want defense. They think defense wins championships. They traded freaking AD for Luca. They would obviously want to add Jimmy Butler in there as well to give him someone that's a clutch player and alongside Kyrie, who has won championships and same as AD. So throwing Jimmy Butler in that mix could be insane. Houston, I don't think they would do it. They're young. They have another year to see what happens, and then they have to start consolidating because Jabari is going to be up for an extension eventually. They gave Jalen that extension. They gave that to Sengun. They have other players that are young that need some time. They have Reed Shepard, who's not even in the rotation, Cam Whitmore. They have guys they need to consolidate to get a veteran to get over the hump, I think, but I don't think that's going to happen this year. What do you guys think about the whole Dallas piece? Also, I just want to shout out live streaming this on YouTube and Twitter. I have 600 folks in here right now, so thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate it. I think this is the most I've ever had on here. This is amazing. If you guys do want to give donations, I've never had a super chat or a donation, so that would be really cool to get one for the first time ever with this many people in. I appreciate the support. Or if you don't want to provide a super chat, just make sure to go to the channel and also subscribe or also follow on Twitter. That would also mean a lot to me. So thanks everybody for that. Julio says, I hope that if we get KD, we can keep Jovic. I do too, but I don't think that's going to happen. And we have to give up Jovic. So that's just going to be the reality. They're going to want a younger piece if I was the Suns getting rid of KD. So Thousand Eyes, what's up, Thousand Eyes? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for supporting the channel. I always see you in the comments. Now that KD knows he's in trade talks, he's going to want out to Miami. We'll see. Again, he might want to stay. Like, who knows? Anything can happen at this point. Amir Van Lee says, Amir, we have to avoid that Boston and Knicks matchup until the ECF. We have to make a push for the 4 or 5 seed. Knicks and Boston have defensive wings. We do need to make that push, and we can't lose games like we did against the Bulls last night and against the Kings, where we're up by. I was at that game. I live in San Francisco. I drove to Sacramento. We were up 17 in the fourth. We blew that. Against the Knicks, we were up 13. We blew that. Against the Suns at home, we blew that hugely. Like we need to stay afloat, and I think a good way to stay afloat is getting Kevin Durant on this team. Balin says, need Miami to fleece the Suns for KD so my Rockets can land Booker using all of the Suns' future picks as leverage. I don't think that's going to happen. Van Lee says 2 second-round picks for Jonas Valanciunas is pricey. Why they never got Nurk? I don't know. I think two picks is pretty pricey because you see how valuable second-round picks are now in today's NBA. They weren't valuable in the past, but they are now an asset. Julio says, Spo's a 500 coach. He's done nothing without LeBron. I'm assuming redshirted Jovic and tried to make him a center. He kept Bam at the 5 for 6 years. His small ball is a failure, and the list goes on. Yeah, possibly. I mean, he hasn't been good this year. Like, I'm not going to throw him under the bus as a coach saying he's horrible, but he's been bad this season for sure. Sharmika says team is young and promising. Yeah, I mean, they definitely are. We'll see. But they do definitely need some win now pieces because if we don't make the playoffs this season, as some of you know, that our 2 picks that we owe Charlotte and the Thunder will become unprotected. So that means if we don't make the playoffs, then we lose out on those picks, which would be detrimental to the future of this team to a certain degree. Fidelio says, I put no hope on the organization. We'll get nobody and Butler will still be here. That is a very big possibility. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. Do you think there is a world where Jimmy Butler doesn't get traded, where the Miami Heat stand pat because Pat is arrogant and says, this package is not good enough. We didn't get expiring contracts. We didn't get any draft capital. We got no blue chip young asset. Like, do you see a world where Pat Riley says we will pull the blueprint from the LA Clippers and let him walk like when Paul George walks, so they got cap space because cap space is what they want. Ernie capping again. He has picture of Jimmy in a Golden State Warrior jersey with Draymond and Steph saying hello Dub Nation. This was 20 minutes ago. Um, yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Ernie again, he's on the inside, and Jimmy's been Instagramming all week, basically that he's gone. I was looking at Jimmy Butler's Instagram as well, basically trying to get some context clues to see where his head's at. And he always posts songs. So what has he posted lately? We'll check that real quick. I'll get back to the comments in a second, guys. Thank you so much. So he said, this song, Even Though I'm Leaving. He's got The Best Seat in the House by Chris Young. I don't know who any of these guys are. Past Yesterday. That's the latest. He also had a John Mayer song yesterday that he was highlighting, waiting for the world to change. He was definitely waiting for his world to change and for the Miami Heat's world to change. So Jimmy giving us that subliminal message that, things seem like they're going to happen. I don't think he's going to stay. I can't imagine a world where the Miami Heat don't take some sort of deal. He's going to the Warriors or he's going to the Suns for KD. That's my opinion now, as of now. But again, anything can happen. We'll see. Julio says Spo played Terry because he's delusional and loves a 6-foot guard. I mean, kind of, I guess. He gave Terry 31 minutes last night. Unreal. Primetime says, I wish we could also get rid of Terry, but man, everybody in this chat probably agrees with you on that. Key says, did the OKC want to KD too? I have no clue. I haven't seen that. I doubt it. Julio says, do Amir a solid and like and subscribe. Thank you so much, Julio. I appreciate you, man. Van Lee says, bro, a lot of people are reporting Josh plus Jimmy plus first round for Durant. That is crazy. If we can keep Nico and get rid of Josh, who's not even in the rotation, that would be a masterclass move by Sleepy Pat. Julio says, Jimmy is history. Thank God. I hope you're right. Love and Light and Meditation says, is there a world where we can keep Jovic if we trade for Durant? Yes. What Van Lee just said above. If they take on Josh or if we throw in like an Alec Burks, maybe, who makes more sense because he's actually playable. Gray Royalty says, yeah. Van Lee, bro, we need to hit up Memphis or Brooklyn for a Jaime trade. I still think we're a defensive wing short and backup big short. Looney would be so clutch. That trade is dead. We also need a point guard. Like, we need someone who could like handle the ball because Tyler Hero is getting double teamed and blitzed all the time, and they don't care because there's no other ball handler on this like roster at the moment that fits well next to Tyler. So we need a point guard, in my opinion, as well. Fireman says, I hope the Grizzlies offer is back on the table. Which one specifically? If you can let me know in the chat. Is it the one I mentioned? Smart, Kennard, Brandon Clark, etc. Julio says, Milton is hobbled. I'm happy he's in Washington, not here. I agree. He's cooked. AJ, long time. What's up, buddy? How are you doing? AJ says, is tonight the trade deadline? No, it's tomorrow at 3 Eastern. Julio says the Grizzlies package for Jimmy was garbage. No Gigi, no Wells. I agree. Clarence Hemingway, Jimmy just wants money and Suns are the only team will max him. That's 100% correct. He doesn't care about winning. Otherwise, like I said, he'd probably want to go to the Grizzlies or the Bucks even. That's a good big three right there. Dame, Giannis, and Jimmy. And it's going to be a lot easier in the East compared to the West. So, yeah, he doesn't care about winning. Van Lee, this thing I like about this trade, Spo is absolutely mesmerized by Durant. Might be his favorite player. Pat Riley loves him too. Clarence says he doesn't care about competing. He would have gone exactly like I just said. AJ, I have a feeling Jimmy's staying for the long haul. I hope you're not right because that would suck. Macmon, what's up, dude? Hope you're well. The Heat are a dumb franchise, so they'll be dumb enough to chase a 36-year-old who doesn't fit with the Heat. How does he not fit with the Heat? Just like they're dumb enough to chase Rozier and give him a first. Julio, prefer Brown over Smart. Which Brown are you referring to? AJ, tomorrow 3 p.m. If I don't hear anything by today, chances of a trade diminish to 5. I don't know. People get more desperate. But yeah, if it's going to be a 3 or 4 team deal for Jimmy Butler, it's going to be a lot more difficult to pull off. And so the more time that passes and elapses is the worse for the Miami Heat. Family, it's so funny that the day we get KD, our record is exactly 500. Net rating is exactly 0. Crazy. It is. AJ says the AD Luka trade had nothing to do with making the team better. Owners didn't want to spend $300 million on any player. That's stupid, though. I would spend $300 million on a guy who's an all NBA player, an all-star, a guy who took you to the finals, and a guy who is 25 years old in his prime. And Shaq said it best on Inside the NBA. He's out of shape. Okay, well, he's still 99.9999999% better than every single guard in the NBA. He's still top 3, in my opinion. Top 4 max, like worse. Like, I don't care. Like, I think that GM Nico Harris, like, should get axed unless they somehow win this year. Then he's a genius, but that's still insane, even if they do. Prime Tim says, "What's the Twitter?" My Twitter is what is it? What is it? I don't even know my own Twitter. It's Mota MOTA 2123. I appreciate it. So we got the official high votes. Memphis tried to rob us. No Gigi, no Jalen. Yep, because we have no leverage. Like he's going to be a rental. So like if he's a rental, why are we going to give that up? If he would sign an extension with us, if they were going to give him one, which I doubt they would, because they're trying to save up that money for Jaren Jackson Jr., who's balling, by the way, who has become an all-star and has become a awesome offensive player this season. You can't give Jimmy that extension, so they're of course not going to give us Gigi or Jalen. So that's the reality. KD and Lonzo Ball, the pieces, yep, would be awesome. I'll give up Jovic over where? Oh, for sure. I agree. What's up, Chino? Hope you're doing well, by the way. AJ Luka trade had nothing to do with basketball. It's the owners forcing their own agenda for their casino endeavors. Yeah, it's always rigged. The Lakers always get the benefit of the doubt in the best trades ever. I mean, shit, they had to veto a trade literally so that the Lakers wouldn't get Chris Paul. And I was actually, funny story, I'm no NBA insider. I have no sources, but I did work for the LA Clippers back in 2011, 12 for a season and a half. And I was in their front office, but on the sales side and marketing side. And anyway, the whole trade got vetoed, and we all know that they're trying to trade Chris Paul to the Lakers to pair up with Kobe Bryant. And the only time I had insider information was after it was vetoed. Our manager basically came out and said to us, "This is not public. Do not release this information to anybody. Do not tell your friends, even or your family." But the Los Angeles Clippers have just acquired Chris Paul. He said the phones are going to ring off the hook. Sponsors are going to be calling in. People are going to be trying to buy tickets and suites. So that was the only time that I felt really cool that I had insider information on a crazy deal. But see, even the Lakers were going to get Chris Paul as a gift. And thank God David Stern vetoed that as the acting owner of the Charlotte Hornets. AJ, my best prognosis, Miami will once again fumble the trade deadline as they have in recent years. Possibly. We'll see. We haven't done anything great since the Jimmy Butler trade. Julio says, I don't think Jimmy stays. Too many interested teams. Bidding war equals better return. Yeah, I think he goes to the Warriors at worst. Thousand Eye says, y'all underestimate how bad Pat Riley wants Durant. That's true. That's a good point. Van Lee, Jimmy was hooping with NPCs and normies yesterday. It looks like he wants to hoop. He's got to stay in shape. Chino says, Ernie is such an annoying bullshitter. I don't know why Jimmy's friends with a guy like that. Who knows? He's just obviously saying some stupid shit. Peter, Sin, Francois, what's up? Durant, all in? Yep, we should. Technically, but not completely all in. He is 36 years old. Thousand Eye says, no, Suns are going to demand Nico. I agree. Thrax Pack TV, if we get KD, we are good. I 100% agree. This would be a coup if we do that. That would be huge. Love and Light says, are we considering Lonzo Ball for a second? I think if we were, they would have already done it. Perhaps. They're probably worried about his injury history. Jovic plays point guard while Tyler and KD help him. I think Jovic is gone if we get KD. Again, I don't think we're going to get KD, but what do you guys think, though? What do you think the odds are that we get KD? Let me know in the chat. Sweet J says he does care about winning. He just has no love for the Heat that is over. Nah, that's bullshit. I don't believe it. Bruce Brown over Smart. Oh, yeah, for sure. Gray Royalty says KD and Jimmy want to play together. That's true. They did. So, again, that's going to be tough to think that the Suns would be willing to trade KD as a consolation to not being able to acquire Jimmy for Beal. That does seem a little far-fetched. Chino says Jimmy does not care about winning anymore. I agree. If he would have been traded to a contender, not the Suns. Agree. Van Lee says Lakers need to try to get the 3 seed because they will crash out if Joker sweeps them and Luka asks to leave. Luka plus KD plus Bam. Who knows? There's some rumors that Luka had interest in the Miami Heat as an organization, so we'll see. We got Down B1. I think that's my boy Cy saying hi. What's up, dude? Greg Gray Loyalty says ultimately it pays moves, right? So why are you following Jimmy's wishes? Are we a joke? I don't think we're trying to follow his wishes yet at this point. I think we're just trying to get the best deal possible. Prime Time says Miami receives Lonzo Ball and KD. Bulls receive Jovic Rozier 2026 second round via Miami. Suns. Let's do it. They get Jimmy in a first. Do it. That would be huge. Stick says Kaminga is for sure on the table now for a desperate Warriors team. Do you think so? That's interesting. If the Golden State Warriors are interested in Jimmy Butler and are willing to offer Kuminga, that's huge. I would do that in a heartbeat, honestly, even though it's a rental technically too, because he wants a max deal. Um, that would be a huge because they've been hesitant to include Kuminga in trade offers and packages. I think the Miami Heat takes a flyer on um, Kuminga. You get Kuminga, you get Wiggins, and you get maybe Gary Payton or whoever, Schroeder as filler. That would be huge. Trade Jimmy to the Warriors. I would take that for sure. Julio says, "How about Schroeder for a second?" He's like a Terry Rozier esque. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Down by one says, "Where is Wemby Light?" Yes, he is. Cy Van Lee. Why are people worried about KD's age, but Glaze LeBron at 40, who was a brute force game? KD is straight finesse. KD is still elite. Like I said, he's averaging 27 points per game. Like best offensive player in the history of basketball. People might argue Harden is up there with him, but he's better than Harden. Offensively and overall, obviously, no shit. Jimmy and the pick is enough for KD. We'll see. AJ getting KD about 2% is his prediction. Julio, I believe that Luka and LBG won't coexist. Luka could end up in Miami. Luka, KD, and Bam. Maybe. I mean, yeah, they both need the ball. I don't like see the fit there, at least this year with the Los Angeles Lakers. But that move was all about the future and getting a Giannis, a whoever type of superstar next to Luka eventually, and build that around Luka if he does decide to extend with the Lakers, which would be for like 175 million less than he would have been able to if he wasn't traded. Gray says absolutely weak, no defense. Down by one, Butler overplayed his hand and picked a non-winning destination in Phoenix. Yep, I haven't. He only picked that side. It was because of Matt Ishbia, the owner, said he would extend him when no one else wanted to extend him, including the Miami Heat. Sticks. We have so much leverage right now. I think the Warriors and Suns could get into a bidding war and force them to bring Kuminga to the table. That, my friend, would be freaking huge. That would be huge, man. I would love that. I would take that in a heartbeat again because Kuminga is super young, would fit really well in this Miami Heat system. I don't love Wiggins, but again, he's only making like $32 million. He's 29 years old. He's having a bounce back year, and he's shooting 40% from three. He's averaging 17 points. I don't know how many rebounds he's averaging, but he's a good rebounder. He's a good wing 3 and D type player that actually could fit with this Miami Heat roster. And then you have the option with Kuminga, someone that you would have to possibly give him a 30-ish million kind of max deal like you gave to Tyler Hero. And think about that future where it's Tyler, then it's Kuminga, then it's you have to get rid of Terry and Duncan and other players like that. But then you have Kuminga, Tyler, Bam, and Ware essentially to build around. And then of course you have Wiggins in there. I don't know how the money's going to work, but we'd be close to that second apron, I think, with that if we did end up with all those players, but and giving Kuminga that max, extension next season. So we'll see. Gray Royalty says, "Who wants Kuminga really?" I know Pat won't. I think they would. Why do you say that? What's your opinion on that? Draymond suspended for the season. I don't know if that's actual news or not. Julio says Kuminga's not a max player, but I do like him. I agree, but he's definitely worth in the 20 million range, obviously, for his upside. Van says Kuminga will play small forward in Miami. Kerr played him at power forward. Yeah, that would be huge to have him. So that would be. Could you imagine if we got Wiggins and Kuminga? So you have Tyler, Kuminga, Wiggins, Bam, and Ware as your starting five. Wow, that would be crazy. The 3-point shooting probably wouldn't be good enough, but who knows? Gray Royalty says, "So you stalking Jimmy's social media and buying it when he's a troll?" No, I don't buy anything him or Ernie or anybody else says in his entourage. I have no clue. Let me see if there's any other news. Is there any other news? Van, I know you're on top of this shit. Is there anybody else seen any other news from Shams or Chris Haynes. I haven't seen anything as of late regarding any news on the Warriors right now. So, again, this Mark Stein and Chris Haynes basically said the Warriors are trying to acquire Jimmy Butler. I think they've been desperate. It seems like let's see. Van Lee says check Drew Star. So it seems like the Warriors have been desperate, of course, because they were willing to call the Lakers for LeBron James or even entertain the idea about Paul George. What does it say? I don't see anything. What's new? I see the one there earlier that said there's a possibility that Jimmy Butler will remain with the Miami Heat after the trade deadline per Steinline, but that was 3 hours ago. I don't see anything new on Drew. What do you see on there? Oh, I'm not on the right one. Okay, let me go back to Drew. So I guess 21 minutes ago, I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see what you guys. One second.
You say to yourself, why would the Suns trade Kevin Durant? Because the status quo doesn't work. And if you trade Durant now, you can recoup what you gave up to get him.
And that's all good and well. When you take a look at what it is that they gave up to get him, it was a lot. And part of the question is, why does this make sense for Phoenix, UD? And that comes back to, what does Jimmy have left? You have seen Jimmy in a different way over the last couple of years than any of us sitting up on that panel, up on this panel have. What does he have left? What can he bring to Phoenix?
I'm going to shoot it straight as arrow. He got something in the tank now.
Okay.
I play one-on-one with Jimmy every day. Before games, after games, before practice, every day I play one-on-one with Jimmy. Playoff Jimmy, I got a chance to see him firsthand. It gave me nightmares. Some of the shots he used to make, some of the things he used to do. So, yes, Jimmy can be on a team, and he can help a team win and push a team to the championship. He can still move the needle.
And if you can get Jimmy Butler plus other stuff, it could entice the Suns to try to do a half reset, half stay in competitive with this year.
And the thing that's dangling over all of this is, where will Jimmy want to stay long term? And are teams going to be afraid to make a move for him, the excellent player that you just detailed, if it's not going to be beyond this season? That is going to be the question.
All right. So obviously UD is going to obviously support Jimmy. You remember what UD said to Jimmy, was it last season or whatever, when Jimmy got in Spo's face? He said, I will beat your ass. He said that to him. Like, he literally said F you to Jimmy. And when he stepped up to Spo, he said, I will F you up. I will beat your ass. So I think Jimmy respects UD and the OG, obviously, the former captain, and he's vouching for him, obviously. And I think Jimmy Butler, wherever he goes, is going to have something to prove. He's going to try to spite the Miami Heat. He is literally going to play balls to the wall. I don't know if he's going to do it for the remainder of the season, but how many games are left? There's like 35 games left or whatever it is. So he can load manage and do his thing, his formula with whatever team he goes to, whether it's the Warriors or the Suns, and wait till the playoffs to where he turns on that switch and playoff Jimmy comes out, and he's going to try to stick it to Pat Riley, Spo, Mickey Harrison, and everyone else. Mr. Pop says, yo, Chino, the Warriors were asking every team if the star player is available. So they're thirsty. That's what I'm saying. They're desperate. So if they're desperate enough, then they're willing to throw in Kuminga with Wiggins, then you do it. What's up, Martel?
Yo, how many people we got in the building?
Says we got 835 in the building, guys. Like, dude, this means a lot to me. Everybody that's watching, if you guys went and subscribed to my channel, that would be life-changing for me. That would get me to 3,000 subs. Obviously, I'm sure most of you are not going to subscribe to the channel, but 843 people watching. I appreciate it. Even if you don't like, comment, share, subscribe, even if you don't provide a donation, I still appreciate you, man. So thank you. And Martel, hop in. What's your thoughts on this whole Durant situation? What's the latest that you've been hearing?
Well, hold on. Before we even get there, if there's 800 people, make sure that you guys go to Amir's channel and hit the subscribe button. There's absolutely no excuse. Make sure that you guys get him to 3,000 subscribers. Then go to Trent's channel, which is the Miami Heat Network and Top Notch Sports Takes. Make sure that you guys go to his channel. I have the Miami Heat Zone. I'm trying to get to 6,000. Make sure that you guys go to all of our channels and hit the subscribe button. And thank you guys for all the support. When it comes to KD, bro, at this point, anyone can be traded for anyone. Like, there's just so many different possibilities because think about it. Wouldn't the Suns obviously prefer for Jimmy, Book, and KD to all be together? Obviously. But if they want to move off of KD, pretty much I'm hearing, I guess, that KD wants to join Miami. If that's true, who knows? We've already been through these ringers before.
What do you think the odds are, though, honestly, now? Do you think KD really wants to get traded? Like, do you think they would really backtrack from Jimmy for Beal? Beal doesn't want – Beal's pulling the shit where nobody wants me. I don't want to leave anyway, right? I like warm weather. Like, I don't want to uproot my family. I get all that shit. He got benched. They're a mediocre team. They're in the West, which is way harder than the East. Like, he's saying all this shit kind of thing, like, after someone's like, I don't want you. He's like, well, I didn't want you in the first place either. So how do you go from that, not being able to pair Jimmy with KD, to saying, let's trade KD for Jimmy? Like, that seems insane. Like, why would KD want to leave unless he's secretly in the back channels or has told management, I'm open to leaving, but not the Warriors, right? I'm open to leaving. That's why all the Warrior information came out yesterday, right, as an option. And then he's like, no, I'm not going back to the Warriors. Like, I don't want to play with Draymond. I have no desire. I've already been there. I've already done that. Talk to other teams, right? Now that's where maybe the Miami noise is coming in. Like, why would it go from that, from Beal to KD leaving? That's insane to me. What are your thoughts, Markel?
Because Beal has the no trade clause. So at the end of the day, they're like, wow, well, we're stuck. The best thing for the Phoenix Suns to do is get off of Kevin Durant and go young and put some quality pieces around
Jimmy
Kevin
ain't young,
Durant.
though. That's another route, but I'm saying, like, why would they want Jimmy straight up for Kevin Durant, who's obviously Kevin Durant's still better than Jimmy?
Who knows?
Because Kevin's better than Jimmy. So if the Miami Heat want to trade Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors, then Kevin Durant can go to the Miami Heat. And then if they don't want, the Suns kind of want to retool, not rebuild, because they'll still have Beal and Booker, right? Then they could retool kind of and get younger by adding in it depends how desperate the Warriors are. If they include Kuminga, which he's not been a part of the talks, but get a Wiggins in there, get a fourth team, or it's the Bulls who are trying to get off Alonzo, or there's Bruce Brown and the Raptors, get those pieces and surround Booker and Beal with younger, cheaper contracts than an old Jimmy Butler, right? So maybe they could do something like that. Anything can happen. That's why it's not happening yet. That's why a trade has not been announced yet, right? Because there's probably so many permutations and so many different teams that they could work with. It takes time, right? Like, we have time, but we have only like 20 hours left. That's insane, right? Like anything can happen at this point, man. We'll see. Is there any other players that you've seen or heard linked to either Miami or to just any other team? Like, anything on
Lonzo
Zion
Ball
that you've
has
heard?
been linked to the Miami Heat. Dennis Schroeder has been linked to the Miami Heat. I like Lonzo Ball a lot. I think he's a great 3-and-D type of guy. I know he has all the injury concerns and whatnot, but I would definitely take Lonzo Ball any day.
Do you think he's worth a second-round pick? And if he is, why has the Heat not done it yet? Because they just want a second-round pick for Lonzo?
Bro, because the Miami Heat, right? So this is the problem with the Miami Heat. And once again, make sure that you guys go to Amir's channel. You should be on it already, and hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you guys go to my channel, Miami Heat Zone, hit the subscribe button, and Trent's channel, Miami Heat Network, hit the subscribe button. So when it comes to Lonzo, okay, the fact that they even have, which I don't even think they have a chance at KD, but because that rumor is out there, we are not going to make a move unless it's for KD for right now. That's what the Miami Heat always do. They're not worried about role players when there's a potential star on the table, which I think they've made mistakes like that in the past where they lose really good role players waiting out for a star, and then they don't even end up getting the star either, and then we have to settle for like a buyout or whatever the case may be. So that's why we really haven't made any moves or marginal moves. I know for right now, the fact that the whole thing that they found out that KD could even think about coming to the Heat, everything else is on pause.
Yeah. And now that Jimmy Butler literally is linked to the Suns for KD, now the Warriors are coming in saying, shit, we can't get KD because he doesn't want to come here. Paul George probably doesn't make sense, right? They see that he's averaging 17 points per game. He has a horrible contract. He's always hurt. He's washed. They're like, we need to start bidding for Jimmy Butler too, right? Like that Jimmy Butler named 4 teams initially when he wanted to get traded, right? Martel, where were they? Do you remember the 4?
No, I do not.
Dallas, Houston, both are unlikely. Houston's young. They don't want to consolidate yet. Dallas, maybe. Who the hell knows? But unlikely. He's from Texas. There was speculation he would want to go there. Phoenix, we all know that. He was supposed to go for Beal. Not going to happen. Can't happen. Golden State Warriors. He literally has been contradicting himself, trolling this whole time, saying that anywhere but Miami, anywhere but Memphis, anywhere but Bucks, Kings, this team. Then a report comes out the next day. Oh, he's actually okay with going to the Bucks, or they're still on the table. You know what I mean? Like, and then it comes out that okay, this team is interested, or this team would be willing to trade for Jimmy Butler, and that was the Warriors, right? Warriors and Suns, the 2 most active teams. And then he comes out and says, I won't sign an extension basically with the Warriors, right? And then you see what Chris Haynes sent yesterday in that gibberish on his Twitter, basically saying we would be open to negotiating and talking, about whatever, a new deal this summer, right? So he's open to extending with other teams, hypothetically. It's this and that. It's flipping and flopping every freaking day. Jimmy Butler would be foolish to not want to play with Steph Curry, who's still a top 10 player in the NBA today, right? And a world-class organization, and they have a really good coach, and they have a really aggressive owner who might not just stop at Jimmy and could add other pieces through third, fourth team trades to get Jimmy there. Who the hell knows? But I don't think it's dead with the Warriors, but this KD thing, I think it opens up, which people are saying in the chat here, some of them have been saying, a bidding war possibly. I don't know if it's realistic. It is in terms of a bidding war, but I think this KD thing opens doors. I don't think we get KD, but can we pray, Martel, that this is the time that we get a player when we were least expecting it? Like, would it be fitting and payback and retribution for no Dame, no Mitchell twice, no KD, no Gordon Hayward, if we even go back that far, no whoever else that we were linked to, even the buyout candidates that we were supposed to get back in the day? There's always some guys always linked to us, but they would always go to a different contender. So how sweet would that be if we get KD? But what are your percentage? What do you
Bro, I
think?
mean that would be
20%?
everything. Listen, to be honest, my main dream is Jimmy Bam and KD. That's my main that's my main dream right there. But obviously, bro, like I said, all this is insane because we were not even the fact that we're linked to KD, which mind you, and this is what people don't understand. Like I said, anyone can be traded at any point in time for anything right now. We've seen Luka go for 1 first-round pick. Yes, they got AD back, but even still, they should have got more back. I don't know, man. I just don't see the Miami Heat getting KD. Like I won't believe it until I see it. As much as I want it to happen, unless KD's pushing for it, I don't see it. But KD has to be pushing. If he's not pushing for it, then no. KD has to be pushing for it.
Do you think he has, though, like behind the scenes?
I think he has, but then it
Like,
comes
not
down
pushing
to
for it, but mention it, right? Like, why would it be out of nowhere? Like, okay, it's either the Suns or Miami now.
that is true though. Yes, yeah. Why is the Miami now? I think though most of it they're linking it because they want to trade KD, and Jimmy Butler's been linked to the Suns. But like I said, the only reason why I think that won't work is the goal was for all of them to play together. KD, Jimmy, and Booker. That's why we were ever linked to the Suns, not for Kevin Durant. You see what I'm
That's
saying?
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So I don't know where they're getting all this Kevin Durant stuff from. As much as I would love for it to be true and for the clicks and views, and like I said, make sure that you guys go to all of our channels and hit that subscribe button. But who knows what's really going on?
We will see. But shout out to Thrax, Pack TV, just subscribed. Thank you so much. Honestly, it means a lot. Azov09, just subscribe. I appreciate you.
Thank you
Draven
guys.
said,
We appreciate it because Amir puts in a lot of work. Amir puts in a lot of work. Make sure that you guys get him to 3,000 subscribers on this live. If there's 800 people in here, all 800 people should go to Amir's channel and hit the subscribe button right now. Get him to 3K before this deadline is over. Same thing. Get Trent to 5K and get my channel, Miami Heat Zone, to 6K. Remember, Trent's channel is the Miami Heat Network.
So we're at 900 people now. So shout out to Martel, obviously, for everything he does. Obviously, Love collaborating with Martel. Love supporting this Miami Heat community. So thank you again, Martel, for hopping on. Appreciate it. Stay on too, of course. Still got some time. So Draven says Jimmy and Josh on a first to the Suns for Durant and Tyus Jones. Done. Do it now. I would love Tyus Jones is a point guard that this Miami Heat team would desperately need. I think would fit very well next to Tyler Hero. Someone who could spread the floor, has the best assist to turnover ratio in the NBA. There's no chance that would happen, but I would love that. Greg says, or Greg, I keep saying Greg. Gray, I'm tired of this BS talks, all speculation. Yeah, 100%. Van Lee says, Amir, Ethan is getting really spicy on Twitter. It looks like it's close. What is he saying? Let me know what he's saying there. I don't have time to switch over right now. Thrax says, Katie always wanted to play with Tyler Hero. I made a video on it. I spoke on Tyler when Tyler got drafted. I didn't know do you have a YouTube channel? I'll subscribe to your channel as well.
He
buddy.
just
Thanks
said, I have no earthly idea what Phoenix is doing, but it's better to just let them do it. Interesting.
That's what Ethan just said?
Yeah, he said, I have no earthly idea what Phoenix is doing, but it's better to just let them do it. That was per his 5 Reasons Sports. That can mean anything.
What do you guys think that means?
If we get Kevin Durant, I'm buying the jersey tonight. I'm going to the Heat game. I'm going to the next. If we get KD, I'm going to the next Heat game. I'm sorry. I'm going to the next Heat. Can you imagine, Bam? Oh, my God. Like I said, my dream scenario is to have Jimmy, KD, and Bam. We going back to the finals, my man. We going back to the finals.
Can you?
Oh, you're see.
I have no. So here it is. What Martel was saying from Ethan. Shout out to Ethan. Shout out to 5 Reasons. Love that network. We've had Ethan on the pod 3 times. We've had Alex and Brady and Major and Eternal and Adele and everybody. We love those guys. Matt, everybody's great from that network. So I have no earthly idea what Phoenix is doing, but it's better to just do it. Are you speculating, Martel? Are you interpreting this as maybe we're keeping Jimmy and we're getting KD?
I wish.
Could you imagine? Can we work out how that would be possible? Who on earth?
I don't know the math. I'm not one of those cap guys, but I'm just saying if there was a possibility, that's the possibility that I want. I don't want just KD. I want Jimmy, KD, and Bam.
Could you imagine? Can you hear me?
Because look, that means that KD's going to retire with the Miami Heat. Because he's good friends with Bam. He's really good friends with Jimmy. That's why Jimmy was going to go there to begin with. I understand people don't want to get off Tyler, but sometimes that's what you have to do. Because listen, if you get KD, you have a 2-year window now. Because not only will you have Bam, obviously, and then now you have Jimmy, but then also too, now you're gonna get all those role players who are willing to come to the Miami Heat for the minimum. You see what I'm saying? You're gonna have all those role players like a Shane Battier, like a Chris Anderson, those high level role players like a Ray Allen. Back when the Big Three were formed, because they want to win a championship, and also too, a lot of people, they love Bam, they love Kevin Durant, and they love Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know how the math would work. I don't know how the picks and everything would work, but who knows?
I know a package that works. Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier. All the Tyler stands are going to flip over and rage. Would you trade, Martel? I'm asking you this here. To make if that's what Ethan is speculating, like I don't know what the hell they're doing. That could mean I don't know why they're trading KD for Jimmy straight up, which I still will take, right?
That too.
I'll still fucking take that. Chino says KD's style of play ages better than Jimmy's style of play. Of course it does. He's also still one of the top scorers in the NBA, right? Top 5, 27 points per game this season. So trading Tyler Hero, I believe.
Yo, stay on the live. I'll be right back. I'm going to go on the computer.
Chat. Would the Phoenix Suns take Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero, or Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Nikola Jovic, and Jaime Jaquez? Would you do that? That could be way too much, honestly. But would you do that for an aging Kevin Durant to keep Jimmy Butler and pair him up with KD and Bam? Or has the bridge been too burnt at this point and Jimmy Butler's gone for sure? Like, what are your thoughts? Is there any world where we can keep Jimmy Butler? There was speculation that we could keep Jimmy Butler and he would be stuck on this team. There's even a player or whatever, who's probably Kevin Love, said they would welcome him back. That would be crazy. But yeah, I don't know what Ethan, they're connected. They're credentialed. They have access to the team. Gray says, "Are you worth something to me?" Laugh my ass off. What does that mean? I don't know. Ozov said, "Yeah, but they don't have much options right now. That's why they are forced. It's better to have Jimmy than a Durant who knows you may or may not want him." That's a good point. Julio says Riley needs to step down and let a younger guy take over who can walk and chew gum. I mean, he's 80 years old, man. That's insane. Gray says, "Make it simple. Jimmy wants Phoenix, which is pathetic. It's not players who move things." I agree. Pat ain't doing nothing to trade him. That's the truth. To trade Jimmy. Thousand Eye says, "Thank you for providing this outlet so we can vent our excitement for a potential KD trade." Potential. I still don't think it's going to happen. Like, seeing is believing. I'm that type of person. So if it happens, it's going to be. It wouldn't be the greatest day ever because we wanted KD 2 seasons ago, obviously, and could have had him and Jimmy and Bam together back then. But we got Martell back in. But yeah, this is our outlet to vent, to be delusional, to be crazy, to be happy, angry, sad, all the emotions. Gray says, "So you blabbering like shit is stupid. Why are you even here?" But that's fine. I don't care. I think it's stupid that you're watching and you're not supporting us. So Julio says, "An engaged Jimmy on the Bucks would have been outrageous." I agree so as well. KD to the Heat looks like it's going to happen. Why do you think that, Julio?
What did you say?
Julio said, "KD to Heat looks like it's going to happen."
It better.
Gray, so what is Pat waiting for? Are we waiting for a miracle? You tell me, man. I don't know. Mr. Geo says, "Oh, what's up, Geo? Was not first, was 3. Geo, do you want to hop on? If you have time, I sent the link. Luka was traded for 3 firsts and 3 seconds? I thought Luka was traded for 1 first-round pick. I'm confused. We got Drunk Lawyer in the house. We getting KD. Let's go. Thousand Eyes says, "Yo, it's happening." Mr. Geo says, "KD coming here." Any sources out there? Any Martell? Do some a little. Actually, Martell, can you
Yep.
you can't put up the comments.
No.
Look around on Twitter to see if you see anything from like Haynes or anybody.
All right. Hold on.
Or from Drew. Thrax, if you get KD, I'm putting my money on the NBA Finals. You should do that now, Thrax, just in case. Van Lee says, "Amir, Ice Tray versus Wemby and Fox in 1 hour. Must-watch TV." True. I hope the NBA League doesn't interfere and screw us for getting KD. No, there's no chance. They're good. They're going to do that. Sassy Boy says, "What is this guy saying? It's going to be Jimmy in the deal. Jimmy to the Suns." Yeah, of course. That's for sure. Martell is speculating, bringing up like a pipe dream perspective. I don't think Jimmy Butler is going to stay on this team. Obviously, it's going to be KD for Jimmy. Let's see. Mr. Gio says, "KD, let's go." Ozov said, "You are crazy." Chino says, "Hell no. Get Jimmy off this team. He quit on us. F him." Fair enough. Ozov, "You will give away hero." No, I have not answered that piece yet. Chat, what would you guys do? Hypothetically, again, this is a stupid scenario. There's no way Jimmy Butler stays and we get Kevin Durant, but would you trade Tyler Hero, Jaime, Jovic, whatever it may take, to get KD? Let me know in the chat. Martell, would you do that? Are you still here? Would you trade Tyler, Duncan, Jovic, whatever it needs for KD? You still here? Julio says, "Jimmy can't bring it every night. He's washed up. If he could, he would have been balling out. Would have increased his desirability with other teams." Oh, yeah. Pat Riley said, literally, "Let's wait and see. Like, you haven't been available. Put up or shut up. Play hard." Jimmy said, "I just want to hoop. It's just a couple bucks." And he proved that was bullshit. And he's butthurt for some reason because he didn't get that 1 extra year. But he's going to be 37 or whatever it is at that final year if we did give him an extension. So I understand the business side. Mark M, "Jimmy is not staying because he won't sign an extension with his front office." That's true. Sass says, "Jimmy gone. No way." Van Lee says, "Goodbye, Tyler." Chino says, "You guys are another world. Jimmy is the one getting traded, not Tyler." I agree. I was just messing around. We were just speculating, obviously. No way Jimmy Butler stays. Stick says, Ethan is referring to the Suns putting some serious thought into the Jimmy KD swap, which means we are so back, baby. We are so back if we get Kevin Durant. That would be so unexpected. Bridges burn with Butler in the Heat. No way Jimmy staying. That's what Jammin's saying. I agree with you on that. Azep says Jimmy will do some dumb shit in a year again. Possibly. Down by one says Duncan Robinson have any value? Duncan Robinson, probably not. I mean, I'm sure a contender would like to add him for his spacing and his gravity, but he is going to be on a non-guaranteed contract next season for $19 million. He's only guaranteed $9 million. So next year, as an expiring, Duncan will definitely be worth more. James says the bridge for Jimmy is too broken. I agree with that. Family says Tyler's skill set is very replaceable. Houston have Reed Shepherd sitting on the bench. Grady Dick doesn't start for the Raptors. He's still way better than those guys. Come on, man. Carlos says if we get KD, we still need to improve the roster. We do, but that's still an improvement from Jimmy Butler to KD. KD's better than Jimmy Butler. Does anybody in this chat think that Butler is better than KD today? Down by one says Nico Harris has fans thinking they get KD for Rozier and 2 third-rounders. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised based on that value that Luka got, 1 pick and AD. Who knows? Raphael says, how do they know this? How do they know what? Primetime says, I'm going to be sick all over again like Dame. I just feel it. That's different, though. Dame said he wanted to be here. KD has not said anything about the Miami Heat specifically now or recently. So it wouldn't be the same, but I understand what you mean. This would be horrible because we're getting our hopes up probably for nothing. Family says the NBA loves this madness. We have put NFL on back burner. They will not block a KD trade. No, how would they block a KD trade? We're trading 2 old-ass guys. It's not like 2 guys in their absolute prime. It's not one-sided either. Miss Nicole says it doesn't make sense for KD to come if Jimmy's not here. I'll take Jimmy over Pat Riley. We do not have enough. Van Lee said it would be Rozier, Duncan, Hovich, Yaimi, and Josh, and all our picks for KD. You mean if we were able to pair up and keep Jimmy with Bam and KD? There's no chance. They would definitely ask for Tyler Hero. Are you kidding me? They got to pair up those Kentucky boys together. But I wouldn't want to do that. Game Collector says, no shot. I trade all that. I do Jimmy and Jovic and draft capital for sure, but anything is not a no-go for me. Understandable. Game Collector says, less we get rid of Rozier, then I'll smile. Yep. Mark says no. Van Lee says Haywood, Tyler, Jimmy, KD, Bam. There's no way. You actually think we'll get KD and keep Jimmy? There's no world where that will happen, in my opinion. The trade involves Jimmy and Jovic to match the trade. Yep, that makes 100% sense. Let me take a look and see if there's any other updates on Twitter before I get to the comments on 5 reasons, or if there's any other reports out there. Nope. Let's see what Drew says. If there's anything from the ESPN guys. Nothing new. Okay. Yeah, nothing new. We'll see. Do you guys think, though, that a Jimmy trade will happen tonight, or do you think it's going to happen right at the deadline? I think it's possible that if it does happen tonight. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it goes in until tomorrow and happens like literally at the buzzer. We'll see. Mr. Gio says it's Jimmy and Jovic and probably a first-round pick. I think I already read that. Fuel said it's going to be Jimmy and Durant swap. Any sources, any new updates? Can you let me know? That'll be good. Gray says Pat has no time for this BS. He doesn't. He's freaking running out of time. Fuel says Miami been talking to the Suns. Okay, that's good. We know. We're going to end up with Ingram. Okay, that would suck. I definitely don't want Ingram as a rental. Obviously, we're not going to give him a max. He wanted a max. He's not worth a max, obviously. And he's injury prone. He's played like 13 or 16 games this whole season already at this point. I mean, the Pelicans are a shit show and they're cursed, but he's always hurt. He would be KD light. I mean, if we don't get KD, maybe we can get KD light as a backup option. Game Collector said it'll be done at 59 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time. We have 1 minute to go. Thrax says, going to put that bet in now. Thousand Eye says my prediction is that KD trade will happen right at the deadline. I think it's going to happen at the deadline too. Maybe at 10 o'clock tomorrow, Pacific time. So 2 hours before. Fuel says when does deadline end? At 3. Yep, 3 Eastern tomorrow. We got Chester the Gamer says, what's up? What's up, Chester? Hope you're doing well. Primetime says it hasn't even brought up, but can Ingram satisfy the Suns' retool as a third team over the Warriors? That's a good question. I know the Warriors have been linked to Brandon Ingram. They've said they've been linked to everybody. They've wanted Vucevic. They've wanted Ingram. They've been linked to Zion Williamson, possibly Paul George, LeBron, everybody. But I don't know. They could be a team that does facilitate a trade with the Suns, even if the Suns don't get Jimmy Butler. We shall see. Anyway, Van Lee says Paul George is going to play. So I didn't even realize the Heat are playing the Sixers today. I don't even care at this point. Who do we got? Jamin says it will happen midnight. Trust me. Van Lee says, oh my God, Irv, Gotti, Chester the Gamer. Who do you think the Warriors are going to get? I think they might get Jimmy Butler, honestly, unless we get more inside information that this KD and Jimmy swap is actually going to happen. Irv Gott just died. Rest in peace. Who is Irv Gott? Do I not? I'm going to look it up. I don't know who that is. Who is that, Van Lee? Gray says Pat will push the contract rather than get anybody. So you have no faith, Gray, that he's going to get anybody. Do you predict Jimmy Butler will stay on this roster after the trade deadline? Because that would be horrible. That would be horrific if we still had Jimmy Butler on the Miami Heat. I would be obviously very upset if that does happen. We'll see. It's very unlikely in my opinion. Let's see. Any other comments? Van Lee says famous music for Ja Rule and Ashanti murder. Ah, interesting. Okay, well, rest in peace. That sucks. All right, guys. I don't know if there's any other players that are speculated to be traded. I've been on for over a solid hour, so I think I might hop off soon. Unless anybody wants to hop on with me. Obviously, I shared the link in the chat if anybody wants to hop on. I'm going to check to see if Martell's coming back real quick. And I'll check around to see if there's any other updates from Shams or any other reporters. Let's see. Martell's trying to come back in, so I'll stay on for a second. Yeah, nothing new from Shams. Let's see if there's anything from Windhorse. No, nothing from Windhorse either. I mean, Drew's our boy. We'll see. See if there's anything from Drew. Nothing still. So the last thing was the Udonis Haslam piece with Brian Windhorse. Yeah, it looks like that's all there is. I'm gonna give it a second. Martell's gonna hop in, see if he has any other updates. 1 second. Thrax said Sacramento just got a trade. I think you're referring to the Vucevic trade, if I'm not incorrect. That happened a while ago, unless they're making more deals. I'm sure there's other moves that are going to happen. We shall see. Let me know if it's a new trade, but I'm assuming you're talking about Vucevic. All right. So anyway, Daniel says, "Can I join?" Yeah, sure. Let's let you hop in for a second. Yep, there's the link. All right, get in here, Daniel. You're a Raiders fan, huh? I'm a Niners fan, so that's unfortunate. So Thrax, yes. So Valanciunas, he was traded for 2 second-round picks. We already brought that up earlier. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah, Daniel, right?
Yes. I got a quick question. If the Miami Heat will do this, do we have to win tonight in order to get him?
No.
Okay. And will he be able to watch this game tonight?
Who are you referring to, KD? Yeah, no, of course he's out. He actually that was another thing that Chris Haynes also reported. He reported that Kevin Durant is out tonight with an ankle injury, so maybe they're sitting him out so he doesn't get hurt. Obviously, right before a trade, who knows? But yes, Kevin Durant can of course watch this at home. Samir, what's up, man?
Hey,
Can you not hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hey, Samir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Sir,
Yeah, the question I had was, so
Alright.
let's say KD leaves, goes wherever, and JB goes to the Suns. What's the chance of him signing long term with a KD less Suns? Doesn't make sense.
I think, but for Jimmy though, I think honestly, if he still ends up there, he just cares about the money. I don't know. I think he's coin operated in that sense because even with KD on that roster, him, KD, and Devin Booker, like, do you think that's a championship roster right there? Like with all the holes they have, it is a big upgrade compared to Beal. Don't get me wrong. Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler, like you're obviously getting a better player, especially when it comes playoff time, right? That's what they're paying for, obviously. But even then, I still don't think they have enough in the West to get to the finals. Can it happen? Of course it can happen, but it's very unlikely, especially them being the 8th, 9th seed. Like the play-in ultimately makes it even harder, as we saw for the path with Jimmy Butler on the Miami Heat, right? We were the 8th seed twice basically during those runs, and it was rough. And imagine that in the West. So I don't even think it's about winning with Jimmy. Like,
I
who
don't know.
wants to go
I
to
mean, then the question is, what's his incentive? I believe that Jimmy worries more about winning than I think we all believe because I don't think I think he really has that competitive spirit that he'd want to go to the Suns because maybe he just feels like he could click with KD in order to win.
Yeah.
So I think the money is not necessarily that important to him because if it were, then he would have just stayed with the Heat. He's got there's an ego component, there's a money component, and there's a winning component. And if he goes to the Suns, are they really going to be able? So are they really going to sign him long term without the KD? I thought the whole point was they're all in. And so if they take KD out, then they're not really all in. They're just kind of, what are they really doing?
That's a very fair point because we can't determine Jimmy Butler's true mindset, and it's not like he's getting traded to a shitty team. Insert whatever crappy team, right? Like he
No,
did initially.
it would be a shitty team because right now how they are, imagine them without KD, and it would be a pretty shitty team, especially in the West.
Especially with Jimmy Butler and Bradley Beal's injury history, where they both miss at least 25 games every season. How are they going to stay afloat? But I agree to a certain degree where, again, we don't know Jimmy's mindset. Maybe he does want to win because he's not picking a horrible team. And to your point, pairing up with KD and Booker, that, in my opinion, even at age 35, with his injury history, is still head and shoulders above Bradley Beal, right? I think he elevates that team as a two-way player, his playoff experience, his clutch capability. He's another guy who could, get to the free throw line. So you're right. I think Jimmy does want to win. Like he did say though, when he first requested the trade, anywhere but Miami, and I could turn any team into a contender. I don't think that's true. I think that's him just kind of just being egotistical or whatever. But there might be truth to what you're saying that, like, yes, he still does care about winning. What is the incentive for him to re-sign? You're right, or sign an extension with the Suns if they trade him for Kevin Durant? There might not be one, right? Like maybe he could just pick up his player option and then let the Suns figure out if they want to do a sign and trade the following season, right? And then he can go somewhere else and try to get a new contract. Who knows? But I'm not sure.
So can you break it down? What exactly he's seeking in the Suns? So if he goes to the Suns now, he would go there, opt in for next year, and then the Suns would sign him for an additional how many years?
So they would actually get to the point where they would actually renegotiate during the summer. So he would have until, I think, sometime in June or July, I think, probably at July, because hypothetically, if they make it to the finals, the season ends in June for the champion. He would have a certain time frame before he has to make his decision to opt in for that player option, or he could renegotiate an extension with them, like he's been trying to do with the Heat right now, right? So they would eliminate that player option and add on another year. So I don't think Jimmy
another 1 year.
So yeah, so
this year plus 2.
No, next year plus another one.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. So next year plus another one.
So that player option would become a guaranteed, and then he would have an extra year, which might be a player option. So he would want money this season to 49. The next season he was supposed to make 52. And if he was going to get an extension, we would have knocked out that player option. That second year, next year, would have been 55 instead of 52. It would have been guaranteed versus a player option. Then he wanted another year for 56.
And the Suns are the only team that's
they're the only team that said they would do that, especially before the KD swap bullshit noise, which I think is just noise, even though there's insiders that are saying it's possible. And there's, Windhorst and Shams and other guys are saying there's noise about it. There must be there's smoke. There's got to be some truth to it. But initially, before the idea of trading him for Beal, that was the whole idea why he wanted to go there.
It's hilarious because Jimmy Butler is taking advantage of the ineptitude of the Suns management. Look at what they gave to Beal. They're just like pissing money away, and they're the only team in the league that would be willing to take such a ridiculous thing. I personally I would like Jimmy. I think Jimmy would have been good on the Heat for this year plus next year, and then
I agree with
say
that.
goodbye. That would have been great because I still think he has another year and a half left in the tank of playoff Jimmy. The year after that, yeah, that could be, he could be grinding too much. But no, that's pretty funny how the Suns, just because the Suns are offering it doesn't mean that he's worth that. It just shows how desperate they are. No one in the league wants to touch the Bradley Beal contract except, that the Suns gave him because, anyway.
Exactly. That's the thing. They are the most expensive team in NBA right now. They're over the second apron, so they're completely penalized. It's clearly not working between Beal, Durant, and Booker. He's the odd man out. Obviously, Beal is the third wheel. So they're thinking, we'll bite the bullet to get off the Bradley Beal contract because it is, again, one of the worst contracts. Bradley Beal's the fifth highest paid player in the NBA today. And he's owed $110 million for the next 2 seasons with a no trade clause. Is he anywhere near a top 5 player? Obviously not. He's like top 40 now, right? Like he's like in the 30-40 range. At least Jimmy, if he was healthy and he missed 10, 12. He missed like 10 or 12 games this season before he got suspended. Jimmy is still a top 25 player when he tries, right? So
in the playoffs, he's five. Top 5, yeah, for
top
sure.
5 still, yeah. Minus, if he was playing last year, I would still say he was top 5.
Maybe even top 3, of what he's proven in the past. He was better than Giannis, Jason Tatum, Brown. I mean, anyone in the East, right?
In the 2 years ago, clearly top 3. Like
behind Joker. He's only gotten the best of Giannis. That's incredible. I mean,
yes, for sure. But
and I think mostly his willpower. It's not necessarily maybe his skill. It just elevates his game, but his willpower is A++, and that's I think personally, I think that's worth it. I think there's So let's say it's very unlikely that this is all going to play out. I can't see Kevin Durant coming. I mean, I would love for him to come here, but let's say it doesn't work out, and there's reports that Jimmy's agent was saying something like he's open to working it out and stuff like that. I mean, what else what do you have to lose? I mean, yes, there's some chemistry issues or whatever, but I think the locker room has been in battles enough with Jimmy. They have a brotherhood, although he's burned, a lot of friendships and stuff, I'm sure, but just roll with it. Like, why not,
Yeah, exactly. Do you think he's going to go to the Warriors though? Like, what do you? How do you?
Well,
how
I
do you
think today
predict
they're
this?
saying that his camp is saying he's not interested in. Or
Oh,
that
not
was
KD.
That was
No, no, not
KD.
KD. Jimmy. So what is the biggest out of these three options? What do you think most likely happens? KD and Jimmy trade swapped. Jimmy to the Warriors, just like a straight up trade. We get whatever Wiggins, Gary Payton Jr., Schroeder. If we can get Kuminga, that's a win. Also, in my opinion, I'll be pumped. We'll deal with his extension next year or this summer. Or do you think Jimmy goes back to stays with the Heat? We can't find a trade.
Yeah,
Which of
I
those
think
three do you think
the
is the
most
most
likely
likely?
scenario, nothing happens. Suns stay pat, Heat stay pat, and the Warriors. I know they wanted to make a move, but there's nothing really going on there. I don't think there's nothing. I don't think they're going to do anything in the next 24 hours.
I mean, I could see that for sure happening, and it would be very frustrating and disappointing. But the only way I see that happening is if Mickey says, I'm okay with sending Jimmy home with pay. And there's been reports constantly saying they don't want to do that because he just doesn't want to send a player at home and reward him for quitting on his team to a certain degree. And I love Jimmy, and I've been a huge fan. I'm a little obviously rubbed the wrong way due to this scenario, obviously, and the way he's handling it, but I still love him. But right now, I'm still kind of upset, and I want to rip the Band-Aid off and get him out of here because he doesn't want to be here. He clearly doesn't want to be here, and he's to blame.
I think he doesn't want to be here just because look, he boastful, but he's boastful in how petty he is. You know what I mean? Right. And I think a lot of his just his personality, he can't help being petty. But
right.
I'm a petty person too, so I'm very petty. My wife will tell you that, like, okay, I'll pout or whatever, do whatever, but eventually I'll come around. And I think Jimmy is, after you realize that you don't have many options and you're just, you kind of put yourself in the corner. Pettiness will only go so far until you realize, like, wait a minute, I'm just I'm hurting myself only, and that's
right.
exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, completely. But also the front office is to blame because they weren't able to put the right pieces around him. They tried, and they did some moves. That's not completely their fault, but the way they've managed their assets and have not had the ability to get a Mitchell or KD in the past, or obviously the biggest fumble was Damian Lillard, or also the team relying too heavily on undrafted players, which is like been a double-edged sword, right? Like it's been a way where we've been able to build a roster cheaply, but then once those players became good, they weren't good enough, obviously, to help us ultimately win. Like Gabe Vincent, Kendrick Nunn, Strus, Caleb Martin, Derek Jones Jr., Rodney Magruder. Like, I think we relied too much on that, especially on the Jimmy build. Then we didn't get anything in return for those guys when they left. Like, we held on to those guys, and they became free agents, like Caleb Martin, Gabe, all those guys. We could have possibly gotten second-round picks, which are now worth more in this era because the CBA has made it so difficult to trade folks and get different stars on teams. So we've made mistakes. So I get why Jimmy's mad, right? That's why I don't hate Jimmy for this scenario. And he did more with less compared to any other superstar, right? Like
absolutely
all these other teams, Giannis got Drew, Giannis got Dame, Celtics got Drew and KP, and like there's been all these
just look at the Suns. Like, what's the excuse why the Suns are not good? They have, even Bradley Beal, who's that center?
Nurkic?
Yeah, Nurkic. I mean, like they're not able to utilize him, although, maybe he's overrated, but like even having a healthy KD with Booker, like, yeah, it's I think the reason why the Heat have missed is because what they're most well known for and their biggest asset is their biggest detriment is like that, just having discipline. And I think the culture nowadays is that these stars, they're not willing to just look at Luka. Like and one thing I just want to mention, people are saying that Dallas took $150 million away from Luka. No, they didn't. He took it away from himself. If basically, if they came to him, they did tell him, like, get yourself in shape, stop,
Yeah.
come in thing, whatever. Are
They
you
had
telling
to.
me that he didn't want to diet so much that he'd be willing to lose $150 million? You know, he
Yeah.
lost it. He cost it himself, and so that's the whole culture. Is that, like, there's always low accountability, and so Miami, they put the accountability on the players. They it's a very disciplinarian, like just kind of military level type of organization, and so that's why they do so well with drafted players, because there's no ego, there's a willingness to be open-minded, being coachable, and so that's why it's worked for us more than any other franchise with undrafted players.
Yeah,
So
totally.
and it may still work. I mean, Bam, Hero, now Khalil, like, maybe that's just our way of doing things with the current superstar divas.
Yeah, I mean, we've been drafting really well. And again, we have a really good developmental program. So I'm excited to see Khalil Ware grow, and like we're getting closure. Hopefully, this is why I think it'll be detrimental if we bring Jimmy back as a distraction, even if we do agree to send him home with pay, which again Mickey doesn't want to do. So you mentioned, you predicted at this rate, it seems like we'll keep him. I still think we trade him somehow to the Warriors for. I think they're desperate enough right now at this point where they'll be. I don't think they're willing to give up Kuminga, but they'll be willing to give up Wiggins still and a few other expiring contracts. And I still think we just have to make a deal to just get him out of the locker room. I don't see a world. I see that as the likeliest option of the three. Like, I think KD is the third option for Jimmy. To your point, like, how do you go from trying to get Jimmy for Beal, and we know Beal has the worst contract and no trade clause and no team wants him, to let's pivot now and get rid of KD and kind of blow it up in a sense? Like, why would the Suns do that versus saying, okay, we have Book on, he's our franchise cornerstone, 28, we drafted him, he'll still be here. We have Bradley Beal, which we're probably not going to get off. But like, why would you want to add an aging 35-year-old Jimmy Butler who is worse than Kevin Durant today, right? Like, I would rather get young 3-and-D expiring cheaper contracts so that they can add a third piece later, right? Like down the road. Why would you take Jimmy? So I
Let me
don't
ask
see
you
the
this.
KD swap. That doesn't
In
make
the
sense for me.
Let me ask you this: in the playoffs, let's just say theoretically, if you have a locked-in playoff Jimmy Butler, who would you rather have? Locked-in playoff Jimmy or KD in the playoffs?
Today,
Yeah, like this season, this playoffs, I would take a Jimmy
on the
if
Heat
he's
or in general?
in the Heat, on our team. I would take a locked-in Jimmy, man, because I think Jimmy is able to do things that we haven't seen KD do. KD is great.
Facts.
Amazing player, but has he accomplished what Jimmy has accomplished those 3 seasons? He's gotten to 2 finals, 1 Eastern Conference Finals, 1 3-pointer away from third. Come on, KD's not done that.
No.
Case in point, right now, what's he not doing in Phoenix?
And even when he went to the finals when he was young, who did he go to the finals against? Do you remember? Trick question.
Yeah, but he was young, but even then, like,
No, but even
the
then,
only time he really shined was in the Golden State when he outdueled LeBron. But look how much support he needed for that.
no, I
His
agree. I
willpower.
mean,
It wasn't really. It was he was skilled, but we want to say he willed his team to win. Not necessarily. They were just a better team, maybe. But Jimmy
no, yeah,
is man. Jimmy is he's different, man. He's different. I think he's if he can lock in and somehow they can just agree to, like, part ways after this summer or whatever and just make the best of it now. I mean, that's what Jimmy should. That's what professionally. That's what you should do. If you didn't want to do it, why did you sign the damn contract?
right.
And that's the main thing, is that when you sign a contract, that's your word. You know what I mean? And on both sides, you know what I mean? And so, like, that's the whole point. If you don't want to be traded, put a no trade clause. If you're worth it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just beating a
That's
dead
why.
horse.
Yeah, totally. That's why people are upset with Jimmy Butler. It's like, you said in the offseason, after all the turmoil, and you didn't get the extension, and Pat Riley said, "We'll wait and see." He said, "All right, fine. It's just $1. It's just a couple extra bucks. Like, I just want to hoop. I just want to win." But then obviously he clearly quit on his teammates shooting one-legged three-pointers, and for that.
Well,
After that,
okay. So here's the thing. Now the question is like how real was the concern of the Miami Heat that Jimmy Butler had his best days behind him? Because okay, let's just say, just like Luka, okay, on the regular season, they're gonna, work yourself into the rotation. Regular season doesn't matter. Even if you find yourself in the play-in tournament, okay, whatever. But if you have a healthy Jimmy Butler and a motivated playoff Jimmy Butler, I mean, it's worked in the past. Why would the Heat not roll with what has worked already? Why all of a sudden put your foot down and say, "Oh, no, we need you to we need you to show up for the regular season." That was kind of a miscalculation on the Miami Heat part, unless there was a real concern about him, performing, and that they felt he's starting to show his age or whatever. But there's no indication that that's true. So
I mean,
it
there's
very,
a little
very well
bit.
could just be an ego thing.
Yeah, I don't have the stats, but there were some indications of it kind of last year. Like, it's kind of like you mentioned, kind of the speculation of he's gonna always miss X amount of games, because he always does, and he's gonna save up to flip the switch to the playoffs.
And that's fine, because like they go on deep runs, so it's like look how gassed he was in the bubble. Like, okay, if you want to conserve, then and you can't criticize Jimmy for not being in shape. He's in incredible shape.
Yeah.
So I mean, the amount of work he has to do, and the point is that he's a defensive player, so he's working double hard than a Luka would, in terms of physical tax. So
yeah,
if that's his method, then what's the problem here?
I just feel like the age they're predicting the age thing is going to just further complicate his injury past and history, and that's what because there's no sign of it fully or truly yet. Yes, he got unlucky getting hurt against the Sixers in the play-in game last year when he got fouled by Kelly Oubre on that buzzer beater layup attempt, right, and messed up his MCL and missed the playoffs, because you saw that Jimmy was saving it up for the playoffs. In that game, in the play-in game, he was like, okay, this is kind of like playoff mode. He was killing it as a two-way player, right?
Yeah.
So, but they probably just saw, though, that players don't age well. Like, there's only a few LeBrons and KDs and even Steph Curry's where post 35, you remain elite. And most of those guys are more elite scorers than Jimmy Butler in the past. Michael Jordan's, the Kobe Bryant's. You know what I mean? Like, Jimmy Butler is a bruiser type guy. Good playmaker, obviously, two-way player, but he's not as gifted as like the James Hardens and all those types of all-star, superstar guys. So I think they probably were predicting as he ages, it's going to get even harder and harder. And also, it's going to be harder for him to do this as a 7th or 8th seed. Because if he's going to miss games in the regular season using that formula, which has worked, it hasn't technically worked because ultimately we haven't won a championship. At age 36, will it work? Even age 37? So I could see why, kind of like similar in the Lucas situation, they're saying like, oh, Jimmy might be a little bit too old to carry us. So I think he might have ran out of opportunity, like, to do that, is their opinion. And I think Jimmy's fine, but it's just like, I think with Tyler and Bam, I think it's run its course. Like he didn't.
Well, okay, so because it's not really up to the Heat, right? Let's just say if these guys, if the both parties didn't start feuding and stuff, if Jimmy just kind of, let's say if he didn't even make those comments about the Celtics, him not playing, let's say he just kind of came this season and did what he normally does, plays throughout this season and next season, if he opted in, you're telling me Miami would what? I mean, they would have gone with it, right? I mean, they would have no choice.
Yeah,
he had the option to opt in. So I think it's pretty unanimous consensus that Jimmy has about at least 2 good playoff runs left of playoff Jimmy this year and next year, and that's exactly what the Heat had in their hand.
Yeah, maybe this year might be it. Obviously, like, guaranteed. But I agree, because it really comes down to like one extra year, right? So he has an option. He could opt in. It's his choice, and it would be only one extra year. So I think you cut out Samir. So I'm gonna read this super chat from Joe King. Sorry, Joe. So keep up the good job, but trust me, it's gonna be at 14 trade between Phoenix, Golden State, Miami, and Washington. Appreciate the donation. That's the first time anybody's ever donated to me, so I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much for the support. If you guys can also support the channel, that would mean a lot to me. There's 1,100 people in the video right now, so if you guys do enjoy Miami Heat content, also I do some NBA content too. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. So I'm gonna get back to the comments now. So Primetime says, I'd love to join if you're live when I'm home. Do it for sure. I'm on for a little bit longer. What's the percentage that we get Durant? I think it's like a 10%, maybe 20%. That's just my opinion. Who knows? Primetime says you can hear me. Yep. This is old. Sorry. Joe King says a 4-team trade, not 14. Who do you think, between who, Joe? What are you referring to if you're still in here? Gray says this channel is cool right now. Okay. Thank you, Gray. Appreciate you. Both are old. Yep. I am old. Chino says, why does winning against 76ers matter? I mean, yeah. Oh, you're referring to the other guy. Yeah. KD 36, Jimmy 35. What the fuck? Oh, you're referring to them and not me. I am old too. Chino says he doesn't care about winning. Gray says Phoenix owner made him a great offer, including a guaranteed millions for sure. That is true. Thrax says if he wanted to win, he will stay with Miami. Mr. Gio says deal has to happen in the summer because of his age. Loyalty says he's worth more than that. He's top 10 in the playoffs. I agree. Van Lee says Amir Hawks getting Ingram. What's the latest on that, Van Lee? Not sure if you're still in here. Daniel said he had to go. Yami says Miami needs to trade the Jazz for Sexton. I sent you a poly market odds. Magic still in the running. Okay. Jimmy's 35, Luka 25. Look at their bodies. I think Jimmy's in better shape than Luka. Gray says, Jimmy said in all interviews, if he's still with the Miami Heat, he will play. Just remember how he started the season. Then what did the media say? Trade him. Now he's being a diva. Drunk Lawyer says KD has 2 rings and 2 finals MVPs. Also, put Durant rings in a box, then Jimmy puts rings in a box. Who has more? I love that. Gray says, watch Burchard's take about KD. He thinks KD will never get a ring if he doesn't sign in the Warriors, whatever. Donovan Mitchell is out. Not sure who they're playing. Phil Bosch says, Russ wasn't a superstar. Harden was coming off the bench. Come on. And he averaged 30 on 50% shooting in that series. Chino says, this guy is still living on the dream, on the possibility of playoff Jimmy. I'm sorry, but playoff Jimmy has been over since 2023. James says playoff Jimmy exists, but he coasts the entire regular season and saves his energy. I don't know if it still exists, to Chino's point. Maybe this will be the final year. Gray says James is making more sense than you, Chino. Laugh out loud. That's what's playing smart is. Laugh out loud. Detroit all day strong. Get this dude off now. How the F you trust Jimmy after all this? Chino says playoff Jimmy ended in round 2 of the 2023 playoff run, and that's a fact. I think you're referencing when he got hurt, right, against the New York Knicks with that ankle sprain. Gray says if you say he's lazy, he's a two-way player. What the F? We got Joe saying 4 teams, not 14. We got that. Amen, Chino. He's gifted in a defensive way. He can create space for his team. He doesn't need to score points, but they win. Okay. We got that again, Joe. You might be glitching. John says, where are we in this? It's almost 4 p.m. I don't think I've seen anything new from 5 Reasons, from Shams, from Drew Starr. I don't see anything updated. Let's see. Yep. There's nothing new on Twitter that I can see. Carlos says, I don't agree with anything this dude is saying with all due respect. Are you doing a 24/7 watch? Probably. Martel, are you back in? You want to hop in? Van Lee says Twitter is very angry with Miami right now. What's going on? Van, what do you mean? Joking, the trade is going to be between Golden State, Phoenix, the Miami Heat, and Washington Wizards. So do you think, Joe, that the Miami Heat are going to get KD as part of this 4-team trade? Is Jimmy going to go to the Warriors? Is he going to go to the Suns? Who and what is going to happen? I have no clue. Martel, you're back.
Yo, yeah, bro, my bad.
You're
Yo,
good.
how
I
many
gotta go
people you
bathroom
got in
real
the
quick.
building? How many people you got in the building?
1,100 people.
Let's go, bro. Make sure that you guys go to Amir's
Keep going.
channel and hit
I'll be
the
back.
subscribe button. Make sure that you guys go to Trent's channel, the team to beat Miami Heat, and also to his top-notch page. Make sure that you guys go to the Miami Heat zone and hit that subscribe button, guys. We are bringing you the best Miami Heat content. Also, too, let us know in the chat which guests do you guys want to have or at least see on our show. We're trying to get the best guests. We're trying to get NBA players. Please let me know in the comments. Also, too, if you want to come on the show, please send us a DM, something. Let us know that you guys want to come on the show. But anyways, what do you guys think that's really going to happen now with this Miami Heat squad? There are so many possibilities. So many people could be traded. But please let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's read some of these comments here. Make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you guys get Amir to 3,000 subscribers by the end of this stream. So far, he has 2,200. Pat wants Gatlin for Jimmy Butler. If that's the case, Joe, then who's the Warriors get? The problem is, bro, with all these 3 and 4 and 5 teams, I'm so over it, bro. We've been talking about Jimmy Butler for months now. And to be honest, guys, I don't even think that he's going to be traded. Watch. I don't even see Jimmy Butler being traded.
You don't think so either?
There could be a good chance he's not traded. We got to remember that.
I think he will. I think he has to, but
we have to think about that too.
I think it's more likely
also, too, don't sleep on Brandon Ingram too.
To the Heat?
Brandon Ingram, yeah. There's so many possibilities. Brandon Ingram, Kevin Durant, like people just want to name the big boys, but idiots hating on Jimmy, who is the main reason for any success. No one is saying that, we're not taking any credit from Jimmy Butler, but what y'all don't understand, y'all need to stop lying and capping for millionaires. It comes down to his work ethic. That's all it comes down to. You can be a great employee, but then at the same time, you have a terrible work ethic. Think about all the players that are in the NBA right now. They do not have that Heat culture DNA in terms of they're not going to wake up at 5 in the morning. They're not going to put down the pizza. They're not going to stop clubbing. And that will low-key hold them back from success.
Yes. One thing that I wanted to share real quick. So it looks like 5 reasons. Just recorded 5 on the floor, post shortly. If you somehow come out of this with Ware, Bam, Durant, and Hero, that's all that matters. Martel, what do you think? What do you think?
What does it say? What does it say?
It said, just recorded 5 on the floor. We'll post shortly. If you somehow come out of this with Ware, Bam, Durant, and Hero, that's all that matters.
That is true, though.
But what he said, though, what they said earlier, I have no earthly idea what Phoenix is doing, but it's just better to let him do just to go with it or whatever the hell he wrote. If that's the case,
well, then look, if he goes to Phoenix, that means that it was all about the money.
Yeah, he doesn't care about winning.
Because
if he goes for KD, then it's all about the money, 1,000,000%, right? If he gets swapped for KD, that's insane. Gray says Joe thinks Pat will get Kuminga or KD, and Pat doesn't want those. How do you know Pat doesn't want KD? I don't think that's true, is it? Big Size says Pat wants Chris Gatling for Jimmy Butler. Good. Okay, that's a good reference. Chris Gatling, only old people will know that. Wasn't he on the T-Wolves amongst other teams? Chester says, if that's the case, Joe, then who's the Warriors getting? Dion Waiters. Big Size says Pat will trade Jimmy for Liddell Eccles right now. I don't even know who that is. Do you know, Martel?
Wait, say it again?
He said they're trading Jimmy for Liddell Eccles. I don't even know.
Bro, who is that? Who is that?
Exactly. Get Tim Hardaway on the show. Which Tim Hardaway? Senior?
Bro,
would
you
be a
guys gotta
dream.
listen. Help us get him on the show then. Go flood his DMs.
Hey, we had Drew Smith and Caleb Daniels on the show, so
If there's 1,100 people in the chat, y'all better go blow up UD's DM and tell them to come on the Miami Heat Zone or Team to Beat podcast.
hell yeah. That would
Go
be
blow
huge.
up his DMs.
What do we got? We're not training Jimmy, Pat Bradley. We have enough, right? Let's run it back for the sixth
Yeah,
time.
okay. We never have enough.
Maybe
You can never have enough.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome, Miss Williams. Wilson. He thinks that the Miami are holding out to the last minute. Maybe. Big side. Pat Riley going to trade for Constantine Pop. Who the hell is this? Van said Ethan just tweeted. What did Ethan tweet? Ethan or 5 reasons?
Let's see, probably 5 reasons.
Nah, let's see what he says. Maybe it came from Ethan's. Nah, I don't see Van. What did you see, Van? Are you referring to what I said earlier? Gray says, you think Pat will betray his statement for fans who hate Jimmy? Not sure. Pat should have just paid him. I mean, it was 1 extra year, right? Technically, Martel.
Yeah, but once again, like, people make it seem like he wasn't going to get his money. What? Okay, he did the opposite of what Pat Riley asked him to do. Who does that? And once again, there's no job where you can go to your job and do half-ass work and not come to work and get paid. Bro, like I said, people want to lie and cap for young guys. I mean, for all this is lying and capping for millionaires.
That's true. All right,
That's
let's see
how
what
I
else
see
we
it.
have. We got Alonzo as a must. I don't know. It's got to be part of a different. It's got to be a part of a multi-team deal. Otherwise, the Miami Heat
I
would
think
have already
Lonzo
gave
would
him
be
money.
involved, though. Because remember, the Bulls, the Wizards, there's a bunch of teams that want to help facilitate this trade.
Yeah, the Raptors can be involved.
The Raptors with Bruce Brown.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's a lot of other teams. It's not just 1 or 2 teams. This is going to be a multiple team deal. At least 3 teams.
Let's see. Van Lee says Amir Mark Spears was so mad on NBA TV. He wants Warriors to get KD. Not going to happen. I was talking about 5 reasons. So, Van, you're talking about what I said earlier, right? Talking about how they said if you somehow come out of this with Ware, KD, Bam, etc. 1,000 is my heart skipped a beat when I saw KD on Ethan's feed. Celtics fan here laughing at Heat fans for all those years gloating about winning 0 rings with Jimmy. Laughed my ass off. Get the hell out of here.
And guess what? The same time when we had no rings, y'all had no rings too because we were beating y'all too. They had the Boston Celtics had the easiest run. Yeah, as the 8th seed, the Boston Celtics had the easiest run of the whole NBA history. Every single team that they played, they had at least 1 or 2 of their star players out. They had a little baby ring. They had to go and get Tatum 5 guys to average 20 points a game.
Exactly. Let's see what else there is online real quick. Ernie posted again, Dub Nation, talk to me. He sent that 35 minutes ago. Big Sai says, most of all half-ass your jobs and want Jimmy to give 100% because he makes infinitely more than all of us.
It's not about half-ass. The same people that will comment that, when they boss tells them to pick up the box at work, they do it. So I don't understand what's the difference with Jimmy. Especially and what y'all have to understand is Pat never said he wasn't going to pay the man. All he said is just wait till the offseason. There's nothing wrong with that. When you're already under contract, it's not like he's not under contract. He's not even on his last year.
He has a player option. He can opt
He's a player option next season. He's not even on his last year. So you're telling me that if you have a 5-year contract, right? In year 3, you can be like, oh, hey, no, listen, forget everything else, but I want an extension right now. What? And people don't understand. Look at the new CBA. The new CBA is so hard to work around. I don't blame them. You can't be quick to give people $100 million. You can't. Especially when you have Jimmy Butler, where sometimes he's half-assing in the games. I see people on Twitter all the time. Oh, Jimmy Butler only has 8 shot attempts. Okay, so what happened to all that? It's like everybody forgot about that.
Yep. Celtics has no aura. Jason Tatum copied Kevin Garnett. Yep. He copied everybody's celebration when all that happened. Hearing Jimmy Butler for Tyler Johnson and Dion Waiters. Okay. Speaking of this, Justin, that number 8 up there, Tyler Johnson jersey. Big side. Jimmy wanted the insurance. He earned it. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Marcel. He called you Marcel.
So what he say?
Read it.
Hold on, let me see.
He's talking to you specifically for what you
She
said.
said what? The assurance he earned it. I don't give a fuck what you talking about, Marcel. Well, reassurance. Listen, when you're getting $48.8 million, pretty much $50 million, and the next season you're getting $52 million, that sounds like reassurance to me, my man. I don't like. What world do you guys live in where that's not reassurance? He's making $100 million between this year and next year. What? And it's guaranteed money. What are
And
you
he's
guys
18.
talking about? And then listen. Let's just say, right? Let's just say in a completely different universe that Jimmy Butler just left. He had no $52 million. The least he's making in a 2-year deal, the least is $90 million. He'll do like 2 years, $90 million, 2 years, $60 million. Like, do you guys realize how much money that is? Like, what are these people talking about? These people are at work picking up boxes because their boss told them to do it, and they want to talk about millions on a stream. That's crazy.
Yeah.
When an extension eligible teams typically extend stars. If they don't, typically that means that they don't plan to do so. I understand that. But Pat Riley, you heard what Pat Riley said. Wait till the summer. There's nothing wrong with that. Think about it. He's gonna opt into that whether he's on the Bucks, whether he's on the Pacers. It doesn't matter what team he's on next season. He's opting into the $52 million if it's not the Suns. And we all know that. Think about it. If he stays with the Miami Heat, he's going to opt into it. All he had to do, and this is what these people forget, Amir. These past 4 weeks, 4 weeks, all he had to do was play ball. If he was hooping, because the thing is, these people will come up on here and call me names. But Jimmy Butler could take one-legged threes and half-ass on the court under contract, and they don't want to hold him accountable. That's crazy. He was taking one-legged threes, quitting on his teammates. And remember, guys, listen, if you're listening to my voice, you guys got to remember this. In media day, he said that the extension was only a couple of dollars. Now these people in the comments are talking about you counting his money comparison to yours. No, I'm not. I am telling you what he said. He said the extension was not a big deal and it was only a couple of dollars. I'm good. He said I made enough money. He told you guys that. He told you that the Miami Heat have treated him the best. He said that the Miami Heat have allowed me to be me. He told you that. I'm not making this up. When they brought up the Pat comments about him shutting up, he said, I heard Pat, and I'm going to be available and play games. That's what he said. He said those 3 things.
That's a good point.
And then these people want to come up in the chat and talk about, oh, but you should have paid him his money. No, he said that the extension didn't matter. That's what he told you guys.
Yeah. So Eddie.
So then Amir, they're telling me that he came into media day lying. He came into media day lying, and then they're mad at me because I'm calling him out. I didn't know he would lie. He should have listen. If he felt this way, he should have stood on business from the summer. Don't come into the season with this talking about that you're cool with it, and then midway through the season you want to now blow it up. No, bro, it don't work like that. Because then you can't expect the team to know that you feel like that. If you say that it's not a big deal, okay, well, then we believe you. But don't try to switch it up on us. Hopefully he finished them 8 seed again, so Celtics can whoop that. Listen, people don't understand. I don't want the Miami Heat to be good. We need to be asked for the next 3 years to rebuild our team. It is what it is. Because you have to win. So you have to lose to win in the NBA. Just look at the OKC Thunder. Look at the Houston Rockets. Look at all these teams that we were calling them sorry forever. But now OKC's first seed, Houston's second seed. Talking about it's Jimmy's most vulnerable time. Have you lost a parent, Mr. Speaker? What is, like you see? You guys don't understand. Jimmy Butler told y'all the extension was only a couple dollars. He's good. This is not something that I'm saying. He said that. He said that. And don't talk about what you said. Now I've said Jimmy's actions were good, but you can't tell him how to react to disrespect. Oh my! During media day, they asked Jimmy Butler about the shut up comments. He said he heard Pat Riley and he's going to be available. If he felt a certain way about it, he should have said it that day.
Yeah. I don't think he's that
But don't
soft.
lie to us. Don't lie to us on media day. And mind you, this is why Jimmy Butler is kind of a hypocrite, because he said disparaging things. He said he's called everybody out of their name. Udonis Haslam told him that he's gonna whoop his ass, and you're telling me they were able to move past that, but he wasn't able to move past Riley. You see what I'm saying? They were legit. They were calling each other provocative names. If they were about to fight each other on the court, and they were able to move past that.
That's a good point. It's the old man contract. It's easy to say all you had to do was wait. You can't wait when you're 35 in the NBA. With every birthday, the chance of getting that last bag lower and lower.
He's making $100 million. Get out of here with that, bro. Listen, he's the 11th highest player in the NBA. Get out of here, man. Bro, like, that's what they don't understand, bro. He's the 11th highest player in the NBA. Jimmy Butler's made like $300+ million over the course of his career. And listen, we haven't even spoken about the Lee Ning deal. People don't understand. Dwayne Wade got $300 million from Lee Ning. He got 300. You guys don't even know how much Jimmy Butler's getting with Lee Ning.
True.
He's at least listen, minimum he's getting $100 million from Lee Ning. Minimum. If D Wade got $300 million, oh bro, come on, Jimmy Butler? Man, this man's doing. Why do you guys think he goes to China every single offseason? That's an obligation. Because they're giving him $300 million. Doing the process. What? Jimmy Butler, Miami ain't doing shit. Bam and Tyler are not. We know that. Bam, listen, this team is going to be ass for the next few years. We know this. And Miami Heat fans need to accept that. How do I sound scoring? That don't even make no sense. Either we get Wiggins or KD, we'll be okay to move on. Exactly.
Fair. I'll take either one. I mean, obviously I want KD, but
you give me Wiggins and 2 picks, I'm cool.
Like a woman. You lied to me. Will getting Durant stop our 2026
fifth? That's a sham. That whole 2026 stuff is foolishness. I don't believe in that at all. Because people don't understand that last year that they're free agents, those superstars can sign for supermaxes. You see what I'm saying?
They will not. Yeah, they will not become free agents.
They're not going to become they'll become a free agent for like maybe a week, but they're going to sign the supermax. So that whole flexibility for 2026, unless you have Luka right now, which I don't even understand why people were talking about Luka in 2026. The two teams he would have loved to go to, the Miami Heat and the Lakers. So why all of a sudden now would he leave the Lakers to come to the Miami Heat? That makes no sense.
Because the Lakers suck. I hate the Lakers, and the Heat are better. So that's why. Y'all need to stop making excuses for Jimmy. Haslam always a fake tough dude.
I wouldn't say that because guess what? He won every fade he was in. No,
so
no one's saying that he shouldn't want more, but guess what? Just like how you don't get paid before you put in the work, just like everybody else, the same thing works for Jimmy Butler.
All right, this is a Celtics guy saying we're soft and sensitive. Okay, that's fine. I'm going with Jimmy to the Suns. Really?
Please
okay,
do.
well,
please do, because he's only going there for the bag. The Suns are not going to win anything if they can't get it done with. Listen, if they can't get it done with Devin Booker and KD and role players, that whole big three hasn't worked in the longest time. Teams are now winning championships, not big threes.
That's true. KD with Harden and Kyrie didn't work. Harden with, all because of different variables and injuries and all that crap. But Harden and Kawhi and Paul George didn't work, and all these other big threes that they try to formulate. The Suns, Beal, Booker, KD doesn't work. The big formula right here or the common denominator typically is KD and Harden, if you think about it, right? So, but they've been trying to form these big threes, and they just haven't really been working lately. So, especially with the new CBA, it's definitely not going to work. I'm a Heat fan since Zoe days. Me too. I hate the Celtics. I'm saying these crying Heat fans in the comments are sensitive Heat fans.
Bro, there's 1,000 people watching through Amir's Twitter. Make sure that you guys go to his channel and hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you go to Team to Beat Miami Heat. Make sure that you go to the Miami Heat Network, which is Trent's channel, and the Miami Heat Zone. That's my channel. I have some new things coming in too. I have some overlays. I got some new stuff coming in. Make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button.
What do you mean you got some overlays?
I'll send it to you.
And it's almost game time, so we're going to be distracted by the Miami Heat playing against the 76ers. So back-to-back after losing a horrible game to the Chicago Bulls, and it looks like Embiid and Paul George are both playing tonight, I think, Martel.
Really?
Yeah. Are you going to be watching the game?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we all got to remember that, the Miami Heat are still playing basketball tonight, even though we're still on Jimmy Butler watch or KD watch or anything watch at this point, but mostly we're on Jimmy Butler watch to see if he gets traded. And we're going to close out soon because we got to hop off before the game starts because I'm going to go watch the game. Been on for 2+ hours. So thank you for all the support. 1,200 people. That's amazing. Never had this many people in a live stream ever before. I got my first super chat. So thank you. I think it was Joe. I appreciate you. Also, again, like Martel's been saying, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot.
Yeah, there is no way that there's 1,200 people in here and Amir does not have 3,000 subscribers. There's no way.
We need it. We need the support. We appreciate it. Heat Nation. Van Lee, oh my God, Amir, your second team got gut punched. They get nothing. KD, Miami, Jimmy, Phoenix. I think Van Lee, I live in San Francisco, so he calls me a Warriors fan, even though I'm not a Warrior fan. I'm only a Miami Heat fan. So, yeah, I think that's all I have for this episode in this live. Thank you for hopping on, Martel. Again, thank you for everybody tuning in. We really appreciate it. And
once again, make sure that you guys go to Amir's channel and hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you guys go to Trent's channel, the Miami Heat Network, Top Notch Sports, and hit the subscribe button. There's 1,200 people in here. Make sure that you guys go to the Miami Heat Zone podcast and hit the subscribe button.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.